Rain hammered against bulletproof glass as Scarlett Whitmore sat inside Damian Moretti's downtown Chicago law office, staring at the divorce contract she'd signed 3 years ago on her wedding night. The ink had faded, but the words hadn't. This marriage expires in exactly 3 years. Tomorrow was that deadline. Damian had loved another woman the entire time, a socialite named Vanessa Sinclair who'd just returned to Chicago after years overseas. For 3 years, Scarlett had been nothing more than a placeholder wife for the city's most dangerous mafia boss, a contract bride waiting for her expiration date. Now, as thunder shook the skyscrapers outside, Scarlett realized the brutal truth. She'd wasted 3 years loving a man who'd never once looked at her the way he looked at Vanessa's photograph. If you're watching from anywhere in the world, hit that like button and drop your city in the comments below. I want to see how far Scarlett's story travels tonight. The marriage certificate felt like sandpaper between Scarlett's fingers. She sat alone in the leather chair facing Damian Moretti's mahogany desk, the same desk where he'd handed her that contract 3 years ago while their wedding guests were still drinking champagne downstairs. The office smelled like expensive bourbon and old money. Rain streaked down the floor-to-ceiling windows behind her, turning downtown Chicago into a blur of neon and darkness. Scarlett had been 23 then. Stupid. Hopeful. Convinced that marrying Damian would somehow make him see her the way she'd seen him since they were 17, back when her father's political empire still rubbed shoulders with the Moretti crime syndicate at those suffocating country club dinners where everyone smiled with knives behind their backs. She'd loved him even then. Loved the way he moved through rooms like he owned the oxygen. Loved his sharp jaw and sharper mind. Loved how he never flinched when other men would have run. But Damian Moretti didn't love her back. He loved Vanessa Sinclair. Always had. The door opened without a knock. Damian walked in wearing a black suit that probably cost more than most people's cars, his dark hair still perfect despite the storm outside. He didn't look at Scarlett, just moved past her toward the bar cart near the window, poured 2 fingers of whiskey into a crystal glass, and drank it in one smooth motion. "You're early," he said. Scarlett set the marriage certificate on his desk. "The contract expires tomorrow." "I'm aware." "So we're done." Damian finally turned. His eyes were the color of smoke, gray, unreadable, cold. That was always the arrangement. 3 years. 3 years of sleeping in separate bedrooms. 3 years of attending charity galas on his arm while he texted Vanessa under the table. 3 years of playing the perfect mafia wife to a man who introduced her to business associates the way someone might introduce a decent bottle of wine. Pleasant enough, but ultimately forgettable. Scarlett stood. Her black dress was simple, professional. She'd stopped trying to impress him around month 6. "I'll be out of the penthouse by Friday. Take your time." "I don't need your time, Damian." Something flickered across his face. Annoyance, maybe. Or surprise that she wasn't begging. "Scarlett, save it." She grabbed her purse. Her hands weren't shaking. That felt like progress. "I signed what you wanted. I played my part. Now I'm leaving." "Where will you go?" The question almost made her laugh. "Does it matter?" Damian set his glass down hard enough that the sound cracked through the room. "You're still a Moretti until midnight tomorrow. That means you're still under syndicate protection. I need to know where—" "New York." He went still. "New York. I'm going back to my studio in Brooklyn, picking up where I left off before." Scarlett gestured vaguely at the office, at him, at the entire nightmare. "Before all this." "Your jewelry business. My life." Damian's jaw tightened. He'd never liked when she pushed back, probably because so few people ever did. "When you ran half of Chicago's illegal infrastructure, the gambling, the ports, the protection rackets, the politicians who signed whatever you put in front of them, you got used to people saying yes, sir, and right away, sir, and whatever you need, sir." Scarlett had said those things too. For 3 years, she was done now. "Vanessa's back," Damian said quietly. There it was. The real reason he'd asked her here tonight instead of just letting the contract expire in silence. Scarlett's throat tightened, but she kept her voice level. "I know. You know. Your mother mentioned it at lunch last week." Eleanor Moretti had delivered the news with the kind of surgical precision only a mafia matriarch could manage. Casual, devastating, over arugula salad and white wine. "Vanessa's mother is ill, dear. Damien is helping arrange her care. Isn't that thoughtful of him? Thoughtful. Right. Damien moved closer. Not threatening, just present. He had a way of taking up space that made rooms feel smaller. Her mother has leukemia. I heard. She needs a bone marrow transplant. Scarlett's stomach dropped. She knew where this was going. Damien, I'm a match. Of course you are. The procedure is scheduled for next month. Scarlett stared at him, at this man she'd married, this man she'd loved, this man who was about to risk his life for another woman while his contract wife stood 3 feet away, invisible as always. You're going to donate your bone marrow, she said flatly. Yes. For Vanessa's mother. Yes, even though the recovery is brutal, even though you'll be vulnerable for weeks, even though it could complicate your... She stopped, took a breath. Never mind. It doesn't matter. It matters. Damien's voice dropped. That's why I called you here. I need you to understand. Understand what? Scarlett's laugh came out sharp. That you love her? I've always known that, Damien. From day one, you made it very clear. Scarlett, the contract said 3 years. I gave you 3 years. I managed your house, hosted your events, smiled at your associates, never asked questions, never made demands, never complained when you disappeared for days because Vanessa called from Paris or Milan or wherever the hell she was pretending to build a fashion empire. Scarlett's voice cracked. She hated that, hated showing weakness. I did everything you asked. I know. Then let me go. Damien reached for her. His hand caught her wrist. Not rough, but firm. I'm not trying to keep you. Then what are you trying to do? He didn't answer, just stood there holding her wrist while rain hammered the windows and the city sprawled below them like a kingdom he'd built with blood and money and fear. Scarlett pulled free. I'll be gone by Friday. She made it to the door before he spoke again. The gala is tomorrow night. Scarlett froze. The annual Moretti Foundation event, Damien continued. Senators, investors, family captains. Everyone expects to see us there together. Find another date. You're still my wife until midnight. On paper. That's all that matters in my world. His voice hardened. One last appearance, Scarlett. Then you're free. She should have said no. Should have walked out and never looked back. But Eleanor Moretti had spent months planning that gala. And despite everything, despite Damien's coldness, despite the contract, despite Vanessa, Scarlett had helped. Picked the venue, approved the menu, coordinated with the event staff. She'd even tracked down that vintage watch Damien had mentioned once in passing, the one his father used to wear before he died. A rare 1960s Patek Philippe that had taken her 4 months and half a dozen private collectors to locate. She'd planned to give it to him tomorrow night, one last stupid, hopeful gesture before disappearing forever. Fine, Scarlett said without turning around. One last event. Thank you. She left before he could say anything else. What? The Moretti estate sat on 10 acres of private lakefront property north of downtown. Scarlett had lived there for 3 years and still felt like a guest. She drove through the iron gates just after midnight, parked her Mercedes in the circular driveway, and walked through the front door into a house that had never felt like home. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, Renaissance paintings worth more than most people would earn in a lifetime. Everything cold and beautiful and untouchable. Like Damien. Her heels echoed through the empty foyer. The night staff had already gone to bed. Scarlett climbed the curved staircase to the second floor, past Damien's master suite, door closed, lights off, empty as always, and continued down the hall to her own room. Separate bedrooms. That had been in the contract, too. She locked the door behind her, kicked off her heels, and collapsed onto the bed, still fully dressed. 3 years. Gone. Her phone buzzed. A text from her best friend Maya, who'd been texting approximately every 6 minutes since Scarlett had mentioned meeting with Damien tonight. Maya. Well? Did you tell him to go fuck himself? Scarlett smiled despite everything. Maya had never approved of the marriage, had in fact physically tried to drag Scarlett out of the engagement party 2 weeks before the wedding while screaming something about contractual Stockholm syndrome and emotional hostage situations. Scarlett. Contract ends tomorrow. I'm out by Friday. Maya. Hallelujah. Burn that house down on your way out. Maya. Wait, you're not actually staying there tonight, are you? Scarlett. One more night, then I'm done. Maya. You're too good for this, always have been. Scarlett set the phone down, stared at the ceiling, tried not to think about Damien donating bone marrow to save Vanessa's mother. Tried not to imagine him lying in a hospital bed, vulnerable and in pain, while Vanessa held his hand and whispered thank you. Tried not to care. Failed. She must have fallen asleep eventually because the next thing she knew, gray morning light was leaking through the curtains and someone was knocking on her door. Mrs. Moretti? The housekeeper's voice, soft, respectful. Breakfast is ready. Scarlett sat up, still wearing last night's dress. I'll be down in 20 minutes. She showered, changed into jeans and a sweater, and went downstairs expecting to eat alone like she had most mornings for the past 3 years. But Damien was there, sitting at the dining room table with coffee and the Wall Street Journal, dressed in workout clothes like he had just come from the private gym in the East Wing. He glanced up when she entered. Morning. Scarlett hesitated. Morning. She took her usual seat at the opposite end of the long table. The housekeeper brought her coffee, black, no sugar, the way she'd been drinking it since college, and a plate of eggs she wouldn't eat. Damien folded the newspaper. Sleep well? Fine. Silence. Then, I spoke with the event coordinator this morning. Everything's set for tonight. Scarlett sipped her coffee. Good. Vanessa will be there. The coffee turned to acid in her mouth. Of course she will. I wanted you to know. Damien's voice stayed neutral. So you're not surprised. Scarlett set her cup down carefully. Why would I be surprised? This is her city too. She grew up here, just like us. Her family... She stopped. It doesn't matter. Her family is broke, Damien said bluntly. Her father gambled away their entire fortune before he died. That's why she went to Europe. She was building a fashion company. I know. It failed. Scarlett looked up. What? Her company. It collapsed 6 months ago. Debt, bad investments, fraud allegations. Damien's jaw tightened. She came back because she had nowhere else to go. Something cold settled in Scarlett's chest. And you're helping her. Her mother is dying. So you're saving her. Scarlett pushed her chair back. Like always. Scarlett, I need to get ready for tonight. She left before he could respond, climbed the stairs back to her room, closed the door, and stood there breathing hard while her pulse hammered in her ears. Vanessa Sinclair. Beautiful, broken Vanessa, who'd left Chicago 5 years ago to build a fashion empire in Paris. Who'd sent Damien postcards from Milan and birthday texts from London and photos from Monaco that he'd kept in his desk drawer like sacred relics. Scarlett had found those photos once. Early in the marriage, back when she was still stupid enough to hope. Back when she'd convinced herself that maybe, if she was patient enough, good enough, perfect enough, Damien might eventually look at her the way he looked at those photographs. She'd never found them again. He must have moved them somewhere more private, somewhere Scarlett couldn't accidentally see proof that she was the consolation prize. Her phone buzzed. Maya again. Maya, what are you wearing tonight? Scarlett. Does it matter? Maya. Hell yes, it matters. This is your last night as Mrs. Damien fucking Moretti. Go out legendary. Maya. I'm coming over. We're doing this right. Scarlett smiled. We're doing this right. Maya arrived at 4 p.m. with a garment bag, a makeup kit, and enough fury to power a small city. This house is obscene, she announced, sweeping through Scarlett's bedroom like a hurricane in designer boots. How did you live here for 3 years without burning it down? Discipline? Stupidity. Maya unzipped the garment bag. I brought options. All of them say I'm too good for you, and we both know it. She pulled out 3 dresses. 1 red, 1 emerald green, 1 midnight blue. Scarlett touched the blue one. Silk, floor length, with a neckline that managed to be elegant and devastating at the same time. That one, Maya said approvingly. Absolutely that one. 2 hours later, Scarlett barely recognized herself in the mirror. The dress fit like it had been designed for her body specifically. Her dark hair was pulled back in a sleek knot that showed off her neck and shoulders. Maya had done her makeup sharp, dark eyes, red lips, The kind of look that made men trip over themselves and women take notes. Perfect, Maya breathed. You look like you're about to ruin someone's life. I'm about to end a marriage. Same thing. Maya squeezed her shoulder. You sure you don't want me to come with you? It's a Moretti event, family and associates only. So I'll pretend to be your emotional support associate. Scarlett laughed. It felt good. I'll be fine. Text me every 30 minutes or I'm calling the FBI. The FBI can't touch the Moretti family. Then I'll call someone scarier. Me. Maya hugged her. You've got this. And tomorrow, you're free. After Maya left, Scarlett stood alone in her room, staring at the gift box on her dresser. The watch. The Patek Philippe she'd spent months tracking down. She picked it up, felt the weight of it, thought about all the things she could say when she gave it to him tonight, all the things she'd never said in 3 years of playing the dutiful wife. I loved you. You never even noticed. But she wouldn't say any of that. She'd give him the watch, smile, play her part one last time, and then disappear. Clean, simple. Done. Her phone buzzed. A text from Damien. Damien, car is ready. I'll meet you downstairs. Scarlett took one last look at herself in the mirror. The woman staring back looked powerful, elegant, untouchable. Nothing like the girl who'd signed that contract 3 years ago. Everything like the woman who was finally walking away. She grabbed the gift box and went downstairs. The Moretti Foundation Gala was held at the Sinclair Hotel, a historic downtown landmark that Damien's family had owned for 2 generations. The ballroom could hold 500 people comfortably. Tonight it held senators, federal judges, tech billionaires, old money families, and at least a dozen mob captains from syndicate operations across the Midwest. Everyone who mattered in Chicago was here. Everyone who feared the Moretti name. Scarlett arrived with Damien just after 8 p.m. His hand rested on the small of her back as they moved through the crowd. A performance of marital unity that both of them had perfected over 3 years of public appearances. He looked good. Black tuxedo, perfectly tailored, hair swept back, the kind of handsome that made people nervous because beauty like that usually came with danger attached. And it did. Damien Moretti was the most dangerous man in this room, and everyone knew it. Smile, he murmured near her ear. Scarlett smiled. She was good at that now, smiling while dying inside. They made their rounds. Damien introduced her to a tech CEO who'd just moved his headquarters to Chicago. Scarlett made small talk with a senator's wife about charity work and environmental initiatives. They posed for photographs near the silent auction tables, Damien's arm around her waist, both of them looking like the perfect power couple. It was all lies. Eleanor Moretti appeared near the champagne fountain, wearing diamonds and a smile sharp enough to cut glass. Darling, she said, kissing Scarlett's cheek, you look stunning. Thank you, Eleanor. That dress is perfect. Where did you find it? Maya helped. Eleanor's smile tightened. She'd never approved of Maya. Too outspoken, too willing to challenge the family. How lovely. Damien, the mayor, is asking for you. Damien squeezed Scarlett's waist once, a silent, I'll be back, and disappeared into the crowd with his mother. Scarlett grabbed champagne from a passing waiter and drank it too fast. Careful, a voice said behind her. Those go straight to your head. Scarlett turned. Vanessa Sinclair stood there looking like every nightmare Scarlett had ever had. She was beautiful. Objectively, devastatingly beautiful. Long blonde hair, blue eyes, perfect bone structure, wearing a white dress that probably cost more than Scarlett's car. She looked like old Hollywood and knew money had a baby and named it Flawless. Scarlett hated her. Vanessa. Scarlett. Vanessa's smile didn't reach her eyes. It's been a long time. 5 years. Has it really? Time flies. Vanessa sipped her champagne. I heard you and Damien got married. Congratulations. Scarlett's fingers tightened on her glass. Thank you. It must be wonderful, being Mrs. Moretti. Vanessa's voice dripped with something that might have been pity or might have been cruelty. All that power, all that money, all those responsibilities. It's been an experience, I'm sure. Vanessa glanced across the room to where Damien stood talking with the mayor and a federal judge. He looks good, happy. Scarlett wanted to throw her champagne in Vanessa's face, wanted to scream that Damien had never been happy. that he'd spent 3 years married to Scarlett while texting Vanessa, that he was about to risk his life donating bone marrow because Vanessa's mother was sick. But she didn't say any of that, just smiled. "How's your mother?" Vanessa's expression cracked, just for a second. "She's not well." "I'm sorry. Damien's been helping. He's amazing." Vanessa's eyes went bright. "I don't know what I'd do without him." "Get used to it," Scarlett thought viciously, "because tomorrow he's nobody's husband." But out loud she just said, "I'm glad he could help." "He's donating his bone marrow. Did he tell you?" "He mentioned it." "He didn't have to. Most people wouldn't. But Damien, he's always been so generous, so brave." Vanessa touched Scarlett's arm. "You're lucky to have him." Scarlett set her champagne glass down before she shattered it. "Excuse me, I need to find the restroom." She walked away fast, through the crowd, past the silent auction tables, down a hallway lined with oil paintings of people who'd been dead for 100 years. The bathroom was empty. Scarlett locked herself in a stall and pressed her forehead against the cold metal door. "Breathe. Just breathe. One more hour, then you're done." Someone entered the bathroom, heels clicking on marble. Scarlett stayed frozen, waiting for whoever it was to leave, but the footsteps stopped right outside her stall. "Scarlett?" Vanessa's voice. "Are you okay?" Scarlett wanted to scream. "I'm fine." "You don't seem fine." "I said I'm fine." Silence. Then, "I know about the contract." Scarlett's blood went cold. "Damien told me," Vanessa continued softly, "about your arrangement. 3 years and then nothing." Scarlett opened the stall door. Vanessa stood there looking genuinely sympathetic, which somehow made it worse. "I know it must be hard," Vanessa said, "loving someone who doesn't love you back." "Don't." "I've been there. I know how it feels." Scarlett laughed. It came out broken. "You have no idea how I feel." "You're right, I don't." Vanessa stepped closer. "But I know how Damien feels. I've always known." "Then why did you leave?" The question hung between them. Vanessa's perfect face shifted. "Because I was young and stupid and thought I could build something better somewhere else. I thought—" She looked away. "I thought he'd wait." "He did wait." "No, he married you. On paper. As a business arrangement, because he needed a wife to secure control of the syndicate, and I was convenient." Scarlett's voice shook. "But he never stopped loving you, Vanessa. Not for 1 second." "I know. Then why are you here? Why now?" Vanessa met her eyes. "Because my mother is dying and Damien is the only person who ever made me feel safe." Scarlett wanted to hit her, wanted to rage, wanted to destroy something. But instead she just walked past Vanessa and back into the ballroom. The rest of the night blurred. Scarlett danced with Damien once, his hand on her waist, her hand on his shoulder, both of them moving through a waltz they'd performed 100 times at 100 different events. He didn't speak. Neither did she. Around 11 p.m., Eleanor Moretti took the stage and gave a speech about the Foundation's work. Scholarships for underprivileged children, medical research funding, community development projects. All noble causes funded by illegal gambling profits and extortion money. Everyone applauded. Then it was time for gifts. The Moretti family had a tradition. Every year at the gala, close family members presented personal gifts to Damien as a symbol of loyalty and respect. Eleanor went first. A vintage photograph of Damien's father, professionally restored and framed. Damien's uncle presented a first edition book their family had owned for generations. Then it was Scarlett's turn. She walked to the stage carrying the gift box. Her hands were steady. Her smile was perfect. Damien opened the box. The Patek Philippe caught the light. Vintage, rare, flawless, the same watch his father used to wear. The room went silent. Damien stared at it, his face unreadable. "Your father's watch," Scarlett said quietly. "I know you lost it years ago. I found a collector in Geneva who had the same model." Eleanor gasped. "Darling, that's extraordinary." The crowd murmured, impressed, moved. Damien looked at Scarlett. Something flickered in his gray eyes, something she couldn't name. "Thank you," he said. Then Vanessa stepped forward. She wasn't supposed to. She wasn't family, wasn't even officially part of the event. But she moved onto the stage carrying a small wrapped box, and everyone watched as she handed it to Damien. "I made this for you," she said. "I know it's not much, but—" Damien opened it. Inside was a handmade scarf. Simple, cream-colored, clearly crafted with care, but obviously homemade. Vanessa smiled. "I knitted it myself. I remembered you always complained about Chicago winters." The room held its breath. Damien looked at the scarf, at the watch, at Vanessa, at Scarlett. Then he set the watch down and wrapped Vanessa's scarf around his neck. "It's perfect," he said. The crowd erupted in applause. Scarlett stood on that stage, smiling, while the entire ballroom celebrated Damien choosing a $5 handmade scarf over the priceless watch she'd spent months hunting down. Choosing Vanessa. Again. Always. She made it through the rest of the night on autopilot, made small talk, smiled for more photographs, pretended her heart wasn't shattered into pieces so small they'd never fit back together. Around 1 a.m., people started leaving. Scarlett found her coat and headed for the exit. "Mrs. Moretti?" A waiter approached. "You forgot this." He handed her a wrapped package, small, rectangular. Scarlett unwrapped it slowly. Inside was her grandmother's shawl, the vintage lace piece her grandmother had left her before she died. The only family heirloom Scarlett truly treasured. She'd worn it tonight. Must have left it somewhere, but now it was ruined. Someone had spilled red wine all over it. Deliberate, judging by the pattern. The delicate lace was stained beyond repair. Scarlett's hands started shaking. "Where did you find this?" The waiter looked uncomfortable. "In the coat room, ma'am. I saw Ms. Sinclair near there earlier, but—" Scarlett didn't hear the rest. She walked through the hotel, found Vanessa near the valet stand laughing with someone Scarlett didn't recognize. "You ruined it." Vanessa turned. "Excuse me?" Scarlett held up the shawl. "My grandmother's shawl. You destroyed it." "I don't know what you're—" "Don't lie." Scarlett's voice cut through the night air. "You did this deliberately." Vanessa's expression shifted, the sympathy from earlier gone. "It was an accident." "Like hell it was." "Scarlett, you're making a scene." "I don't care." Scarlett stepped closer. "You came back here and took everything. You took Damien's attention, his time, his concern. Fine. That's between you and him. But you don't get to destroy the one thing I had left of my family. It's just a shawl." Scarlett slapped her. The sound cracked through the night. Vanessa stumbled back, hand pressed to her cheek, eyes wide. People stopped, stared. Then Damien was there, grabbing Scarlett's arm. "What the hell are you doing? She ruined—" "I don't care." Damien's voice was ice. "You don't hit her. Ever." Scarlett stared at him, at this man she'd loved, this man she'd married, this man who was defending Vanessa even now. "Apologize," Damien said. Scarlett's world tilted. "What?" "Apologize to Vanessa. Now. You can't be serious." "Now, Scarlett." She looked at Vanessa, at her perfect face and fake tears, at Damien standing between them like a shield. And something inside Scarlett finally broke. Not her heart. That had broken years ago. Something deeper, something fundamental. Her hope, her faith, her stupid, stubborn belief that maybe Damien might someday see her. "I'm sorry," Scarlett whispered. Vanessa nodded, still crying. Damien released Scarlett's arm. "Go home." "No." "Scarlett, I'm leaving." She looked at him one last time. Not home, just leaving. She walked to her car, drove through empty Chicago streets while her hands shook and her vision blurred and her chest felt like someone had reached inside and torn out everything vital. At a red light, she pulled out her phone, opened the Photos app, found the picture of that contract, the one she'd signed 3 years ago on her wedding night. This marriage will last exactly 3 years. The light turned green. Scarlett kept driving. Not to the Moretti estate, not to the penthouse, to her lawyer's office downtown. She parked, walked through the empty lobby, took the elevator to the 14th floor. Her lawyer had left the divorce papers on his desk with a note. "Sign whenever you're ready." Scarlett signed them at 3:47 a.m. while the city slept and her marriage officially ended. Then she drove to the Moretti estate one last time, packed her clothes, her jewelry, her laptop, everything that mattered, left her wedding ring on Damien's desk, and walked out of his life forever. She was loading the last box into her car when Damien's Mercedes pulled up the driveway. He got out fast, still wearing his tuxedo from the gala. "What are you doing?" Scarlett slammed her trunk closed. "What does it look like?" "It's 4 in the morning. The contract expired at midnight. I'm leaving." "Now? Right now?" "Yes." Damien moved closer. "Scarlett, about tonight. Don't." She held up one hand. "Just don't. You can't just leave like this. Watch me." "Scarlett, you made me apologize to her." Scarlett's voice cracked. "She destroyed the one thing I had left of my grandmother, and you made me apologize to her." "She didn't mean—" "I don't care what she meant. I don't care about her excuses or her tears or her dying mother or any of it." Scarlett's hands curled into fists. "I gave you 3 years, Damien. I managed your house. I hosted your events. I smiled at your associates. I played the perfect wife while you texted another woman under the table. I never complained, never asked for anything, never made demands." "I know. But tonight you chose her scarf over my watch. You defended her instead of me. You made me grovel in front of half of Chicago's elite because I finally stood up for myself." Scarlett's voice broke. "So I'm done. The contract is over. I signed the divorce papers. I'm leaving." Damien stared at her. "You signed? 3 hours ago. We're done." "Scarlett, wait." But she was already in her car, engine running, headlights cutting through the pre-dawn darkness. Damien stood there in his tuxedo, looking lost. Scarlett didn't look back. She drove toward the gates, toward freedom, toward a life that didn't revolve around a man who'd never loved her. Behind her, in the rearview mirror, Damien Moretti got smaller and smaller until he disappeared completely. And for the first time in 3 years, Scarlett Whitmore could finally breathe. Brooklyn hit different at dawn. Scarlett pulled up to her old studio building just as the sun started bleeding orange across the East River. She'd driven straight through, 7 hours of highway, rest stops, gas station coffee that tasted like burnt rubber. Her hands ached from gripping the steering wheel. Her eyes felt like sandpaper. But she was here. Away from Chicago, away from the Moretti estate, away from Damien. The studio was exactly how she'd left it 3 years ago. 4th floor walk-up in Williamsburg, big windows facing the water, exposed brick walls covered in jewelry design sketches she'd abandoned the week before her wedding. Her work table still had tools scattered across it, pliers, hammers, spools of silver wire. Like she'd just stepped out for coffee and forgot to come back. Scarlett dropped her bags by the door and stood there breathing. The silence felt good, clean, hers. Her phone buzzed. She'd been ignoring it since leaving Chicago. 17 missed calls from Damien, 12 from Eleanor, 6 from unknown numbers that were probably Moretti associates checking if she'd been kidnapped. 1 text from Maya. "Please tell me you're alive," Scarlett typed back. "Alive, in Brooklyn. Don't tell anyone." The response came instantly. "Thank God." "Calling you now?" The phone rang. Scarlett answered. "You actually left." Maya's voice cracked with relief. "You really did it." "I really did it." "How do you feel?" Scarlett looked around the studio, at the dust covering everything, at the design she'd abandoned, at the life she'd put on hold to play mafia wife for a man who'd never wanted her. "Empty," she said. "I feel empty." "That's normal. You just walked away from 3 years of hell." "It wasn't all hell. Scarlett, some of it was just sad." Scarlett sank onto her old couch. Springs creaked. "I thought I could make him love me. How stupid is that?" "Not stupid. Human." "Same thing." Maya was quiet for a second, then, "What are you going to do now?" Scarlett looked at her work table, at all those abandoned designs. "I don't know." "Want me to come out there? I can be on a plane in 2 hours." "No, I need to figure this out alone." "You've been alone for 3 years." "That was different. That was lonely. This is—" Scarlett searched for the word. "This is mine." Maya understood. She always did. "Okay, but I'm 1 phone call away, anytime, day or night." "I know." "And Scarlett?" "Yeah?" "Fuck Damien Moretti." Scarlett smiled. First real smile in days. Yeah, fuck him. After they hung up, Scarlett sat in the growing daylight and let herself feel everything she'd been holding back during the drive. The humiliation at the gala. Damien choosing Vanessa's cheap scarf over the watch Scarlett had spent months finding. Making her apologize while half of Chicago watched. Defending Vanessa like she was something precious while treating Scarlett like hired help. The anger felt good, clean and sharp and clarifying. She stood, walked to her work table, picked up a hammer and a piece of silver wire. Her hands remembered the movements: bend, twist, shape, strike. By noon, she'd made her first piece of jewelry in 3 years. A ring. Simple, brutal, beautiful. She held it up to the light and felt something shift inside her chest. Not hope? Not yet. But possibility. Damien called 63 times in the first week. Scarlett didn't answer. He sent flowers. Expensive arrangements that showed up at her studio door with cards that said things like, "We need to talk, and this isn't over, and call me." She threw them all away. Eleanor tried next. A handwritten letter on Moretti family stationery, delivered by courier. "Dearest Scarlett, I understand you're upset, but leaving so abruptly was incredibly rude. The family expects better. Please call me so we can discuss this like adults." Fondly, Eleanor. Scarlett burned it in her kitchen sink. Then the lawyers started calling. Apparently the divorce papers Scarlett had signed weren't the official ones. Those needed Damien's signature too. And witnesses and notarization, and about 6 other legal requirements that meant Scarlett was technically still married. She called her lawyer from the stairwell because her studio had terrible cell reception. "How long?" she asked. "If he cooperates? 30 days? And if he doesn't?" Her lawyer sighed. "Could be months. He's a Moretti, Scarlett. They don't cooperate." "Great, perfect, fantastic. I'll push as hard as I can." Scarlett hung up and sat on the stairs for 20 minutes, too tired to move. Still married, still technically Mrs. Damien Moretti. Still trapped in a contract she thought she'd escaped. Her phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. Against her better judgment, she answered. "What?" "Scarlett," Damien's voice. "Finally." She should have hung up. "How did you get this number?" "I own half the telecommunications infrastructure in Chicago. Getting your new number took about 40 seconds. That's illegal." "So is leaving your husband without warning." "We're not married. The contract expired." "We're absolutely married. You signed papers without my consent. That's not how divorce works." Scarlett closed her eyes. "What do you want, Damien?" Silence. Then, "I want to know why you left." "You can't be serious." "I'm completely serious. You made me apologize to her. You chose her scarf over my watch. You defended her instead of me." Scarlett's voice rose. "You've spent 3 years treating me like furniture. What part of this is confusing?" "It wasn't supposed to be like that." "But it was." "Scarlett, sign the divorce papers. Let me go." "No." Her blood went cold. "Excuse me? I'm not signing anything until we talk in person." "We don't need to talk." "Yes, we do." Damien's voice hardened. "You're still a Moretti. That means you're still under syndicate protection whether you like it or not. I need to know you're safe." "I'm safe." "Prove it. Meet me." "No." "Scarlett." She hung up, turned off her phone, sat on the stairs shaking. He wasn't going to let her go. Of course he wasn't. Because Damien Moretti didn't lose, didn't surrender, didn't let anything escape his control, even a wife he'd never wanted. 2 weeks after leaving Chicago, Scarlett's designs started selling. She'd posted a few pieces online, nothing fancy, just some photos on Instagram with minimal captions. Rings, necklaces, bracelets, all of them sharp and celestial themed. Crescent moons, stars, constellations mapped in silver and gold. The response was instant. Comments flooded in, DMs from boutique owners, emails from galleries. Within 48 hours, she'd sold everything she'd made. Maya called screaming, "Did you see? Did you fucking see?" "I saw. Vogue just shared your post. Vogue, Scarlett." That's insane. That's talent." Maya's voice went softer. "You're back." Scarlett looked around her studio, at the new pieces she'd been working on. at the life she was building without Damien. "Yeah," she said quietly. "I'm back." She hired a studio assistant, a young designer named Carmen, who just graduated from Parsons and worked like she was personally trying to redesign the entire jewelry industry. "Your celestial work is incredible," Carmen said on her first day, studying one of Scarlett's necklaces. "How did you develop this style?" Scarlett thought about all those lonely nights in the Moretti estate, all those hours she'd spent staring at the sky through her bedroom window, wishing she was anywhere else. "Long story," she said. Carmen didn't push. Just got to work organizing the chaos Scarlett had created over the past 2 weeks. They fell into a rhythm. Scarlett designed. Carmen handled production, shipping, customer emails. Orders kept coming. More boutiques. A gallery in Soho wanted to feature her work. A fashion magazine requested an interview. Scarlett's new life took shape one piece at a time. And she didn't think about Damien, mostly, until the day Vanessa showed up at her studio. It was late afternoon. Carmen had left early for a doctor's appointment. Scarlett was alone, working on a new bracelet design, when someone knocked on the door. She opened it without thinking. Vanessa stood in the hallway wearing designer jeans and a cashmere sweater, looking like she'd walked out of a catalog for expensive casual wear. Scarlett's stomach dropped. "How did you find me?" "Damien." "Of course." Scarlett started to close the door. "Leave. Wait." Vanessa put her hand on the door. "Please, I need to talk to you." "We have nothing to talk about." "It's about Damien." "I don't care about Damien." "He's in the hospital." Scarlett froze. "What?" "The bone marrow donation. There were complications." Vanessa's eyes were red. "He's been unconscious for 3 days." The bracelet slipped from Scarlett's fingers, hit the floor. She didn't pick it up. "What kind of complications?" "Infection. His body rejected something during the procedure. The doctors say—" Vanessa's voice broke. "They say it's bad." Scarlett's chest tightened. She hated that. Hated that even now, even after everything, her first instinct was still to worry about him. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because he's been asking for you." "No, he hasn't." "He has. Every time he wakes up, he asks where you are." Vanessa wiped her eyes. "His mother won't tell him you left. She keeps saying you're busy, but he knows something's wrong." Scarlett leaned against the doorframe. "That's not my problem." "Scarlett, he chose you, Vanessa. He risked his life for your mother. He defended you. He humiliated me in front of everyone who matters in Chicago. So forgive me if I don't rush to his hospital bed because he's finally paying the price for his choices." Vanessa flinched. "I know you hate me." "I don't hate you. I hate that he loves you." "He doesn't." "Don't lie." Scarlett's voice cut like glass. "You know he does. You've always known." Vanessa looked away. "It's complicated." "It's really not." They stood there in the hallway. Two women who'd both loved the same man, who'd both lost him in different ways. "He's dying," Vanessa whispered. Scarlett's hands curled into fists. "The doctor said that?" "They said if the infection doesn't respond to treatment in the next 48 hours. Vanessa couldn't finish. Scarlett wanted to feel nothing, wanted to be cold and hard and untouchable. But she wasn't. She was still the girl who'd loved Damien Moretti since she was 17. Still the woman who'd spent 3 years hoping he might someday look at her the way he looked at Vanessa's photograph. Still stupid. "Where is he?" "Northwestern Memorial, ICU, 6th floor." Scarlett grabbed her coat. "If this is some kind of trick, it's not. I swear." "Why do you even care if I come?" Vanessa met her eyes. "Because despite everything, you're the only person who ever really loved him." The flight to Chicago took 2 hours. Scarlett spent the entire time staring out the window, trying not to think about Damien unconscious in a hospital bed, trying not to imagine him dying alone, trying not to care, failing. Maya had wanted to come with her. Scarlett had said no. This was something she needed to face alone. A car was waiting at O'Hare, not one she'd arranged. A black Mercedes with Moretti Syndicate plates and a driver in a suit who opened the door without speaking. They'd been watching for her. Of course they had. The drive to Northwestern Memorial took 30 minutes through evening traffic. Scarlett watched Chicago slide past the windows, the city she'd left 2 weeks ago, the city that still felt like a trap. Eleanor Moretti was waiting in the ICU family lounge. She looked older, tired. The first time Scarlett had ever seen her without perfect makeup and perfect posture. "Scarlett," Eleanor stood. "You came." "Vanessa said it was serious." "It is." Eleanor's voice cracked. "The doctors aren't optimistic." Scarlett's throat tightened. "Can I see him?" "Room 604, but Scarlett—" Eleanor caught her arm. "He doesn't know you left. I haven't told him." "Why not?" "Because he's fighting to survive. I won't give him another reason to give up." Scarlett pulled free. "You think I'm the reason he'd give up?" "I think you're the reason he'd fight." The words hit like a punch. Scarlett walked to room 604 on legs that felt like water, pushed open the door, stepped inside. Damien lay in the hospital bed, surrounded by machines that beeped and hummed and tracked every struggling breath. IV lines ran into his arms. Monitors showed numbers Scarlett didn't understand. His skin looked gray. His face looked hollow. He looked like he was dying. Scarlett moved to his bedside, sat in the chair someone had left there, stared at the man she'd married. "Hey," she whispered. No response, just the steady beep of the heart monitor. "I'm here. I don't know why, but I'm here." Her voice shook. "You're an idiot. You know that? Risking your life for her mother. For her. You've always been an idiot when it comes to Vanessa." The machines kept beeping. "I left 2 weeks ago. I drove to Brooklyn and I'm rebuilding my life and I'm finally okay without you." Scarlett's eyes burned. "But then Vanessa showed up and said you were dying and She stopped, pressed her hand against her mouth. "I shouldn't have come. You don't deserve this. Don't deserve me worrying about you after everything you put me through." Damien's hand moved, just barely, fingers twitching against the hospital sheets. Scarlett froze. "Damien?" His eyes opened, slow, unfocused, gray like storm clouds. He looked at her, really looked at her. "Scarlett," his voice came out rough, broken. "You're here." "Yeah, I'm here. Thought I was dreaming." "You're not dreaming." He tried to sit up, failed, fell back against the pillows. "How long?" 3 days, apparently. "Feels like longer." His eyes closed. "Everything hurts." That's what happens when you donate bone marrow without proper recovery time. "Had to. Vanessa's mother—" "I know." Scarlett stood. "I should go." "Don't." His hand caught hers, weak grip but determined. "Stay." "Damien, please." She should have left, should have walked out and never looked back, but she sat back down, held his hand, watched him drift back into unconscious while the machines beeped and Chicago grew dark outside the window. Scarlett stayed for 48 hours. She slept in the chair beside Damien's bed, drank terrible hospital coffee, ignored Eleanor's meaningful looks and Vanessa's guilty presence. The infection responded to treatment. Slowly. Damien's fever broke on the second night. His numbers improved. The doctors started using words like stable and recovering. He was going to live. On the third morning, Scarlett was standing by the window watching sunrise when Damien woke up. "You're still here." She turned. "Yeah." "Why?" "Good question." Scarlett didn't have a good answer. "I don't know," she said finally. Damien studied her, more alert now, more himself. "You look different." "I cut my hair." "That's not what I mean." His eyes narrowed. "You look free." Scarlett's chest tightened. "I am free. The contract expired 2 weeks ago. I left, Damien. I drove to Brooklyn and filed for divorce and started rebuilding my life." He went still. "You left." "Yes. My mother said you were busy." "She lied." Damien's jaw tightened. "Why?" "Ask her." "I'm asking you." Scarlett moved closer to the bed. "Because I was done. Done being invisible. Done being the placeholder. Done waiting for you to notice me while you loved someone else." "Scarlett, and you know what? Leaving was the best thing I ever did. I'm designing again. My work is selling. I'm happy." Her voice cracked. "I'm finally happy." Damien stared at her. "Then why are you here?" Because Vanessa said you were dying, and you cared. Against my better judgment, Scarlett grabbed her coat. But you're not dying, so I'm leaving. Again. Scarlett, wait. Sign the divorce papers, Damien. Let me go. I can't. She stopped, turned. Why not? Because He stopped, looked away. Because it's complicated. It's not complicated. You love Vanessa. You always have. Let me find someone who actually wants me. There's no one like you. Scarlett laughed. It came out bitter. That's not the compliment you think it is. She walked out before he could respond. Eleanor was waiting in the hallway. You're leaving. He's stable. You don't need me. Scarlett, sign the papers, Eleanor. Tell your son to sign the goddamn papers. She made it to the elevator before the tears started. Back in Brooklyn, Scarlett threw herself into work. She designed like she was trying to forget, like creating beauty could somehow erase the past 3 years. Her celestial collection exploded. A Soho gallery featured her work in a group show. The New York Times mentioned her in an article about emerging jewelry designers. Orders flooded in faster than she and Carmen could handle. We need to hire more people, Carmen said one afternoon, surrounded by shipping boxes. Do it. And we need a bigger space. Find one. Carmen stared at her. Are you okay? I'm fine. You've been working 16-hour days. I'm building a business. You're running from something. Scarlett set down the pliers she'd been holding. I went back to Chicago. I know, you told me. He almost died. I know that too. And I still love him. Scarlett's voice broke. How fucked up is that? Carmen came around the work table, hugged her. Pretty fucked up, but also human. I thought leaving would make it stop. Feelings don't work like that. They should. They worked in silence for a while. Then Carmen said, There's a guy downstairs asking for you. Scarlett looked up. What guy? Wouldn't give his name, just said he needed to see Scarlett Whitmore about an urgent matter. Tell him I'm busy. I tried. He's persistent. Scarlett sighed, wiped her hands on her apron, went downstairs. A man stood in the building lobby, tall, late 30s, wearing an expensive suit and carrying himself like someone who'd spent time in the military. Sharp eyes, calm energy, nothing like Damien's violent intensity. Ms. Whitmore, he extended his hand. Alexander Vaughn. Scarlett shook it warily. Do I know you? No, but we have mutual acquaintances. His smile was slight. I work with several luxury brands. I saw your work at the Soho Gallery last week. It's extraordinary. Thank you. I'd like to invest in your company. Scarlett blinked. I'm sorry? Your celestial collection has serious commercial potential. With proper backing, you could scale nationally within 6 months, internationally within a year. Alexander pulled out a business card. I specialize in helping emerging designers build sustainable brands. If you're interested, I'd love to discuss details over dinner. I'd love for. Scarlett took the card. Alexander Vaughn, Strategic Investments. A Manhattan address, phone number, email. I don't know, she said slowly. No pressure. Think about it. Call me if you're interested. He left before she could respond. Scarlett stood in the lobby holding his card, feeling like the universe had just thrown her a rope. Or a test. She went back upstairs, showed Carmen the card. Holy shit, Carmen breathed. Alexander Vaughn. He's legendary. He turned 3 different fashion startups into $100 million companies. You know him? Everyone in the industry knows him. If he's offering to invest, you take it. No question. Scarlett looked at the card again. A way forward, a way out, a way to build something real without Damien's money or Damien's name or Damien's shadow. She called the number. Alexander answered on the second ring. That was fast. I'm interested, Scarlett said. Let's talk. Dinner was at a quiet restaurant in Tribeca. Small, elegant, expensive without being flashy. Alexander arrived exactly on time, ordered wine like someone who actually knew about wine, asked intelligent questions about her design process and business goals. He didn't flirt, didn't push, just listened. It was refreshing. I started designing in college, Scarlett explained between courses. Jewelry felt like, I don't know, wearable art, something beautiful that people could carry with them. And the celestial theme? Scarlett hesitated. It came later, when I needed an escape. From what? A marriage that shouldn't have happened. Alexander nodded like that made sense. I was engaged once, called it off 3 weeks before the wedding. Why? Because I realized I was marrying who I thought I should marry, not who I actually loved. Did you love anyone? Not then. Maybe not now. He smiled. I'm better at building things than maintaining relationships. Scarlett understood that. So you build companies instead. I help people build what they're meant to build. There's a difference. Alexander leaned forward. You're meant to build this, Scarlett. Your work has something rare. Authenticity. Pain transformed into beauty. People respond to that. You got all that from a gallery show? I got that from watching you work. Scarlett frowned. You watched me work? I stopped by your studio before approaching you. Stood outside for about 20 minutes. You were so focused you didn't notice. Alexander's expression softened. That kind of focus is rare. That kind of passion is what makes brands succeed. Or what makes people obsessive. Sometimes those are the same thing. They talked for 3 hours. About business, scaling, production, distribution. Alexander had a plan for everything. Contacts at major retailers, connections with fashion editors. A roadmap that could take Scarlett's small studio operation and turn it into something legitimate, something big. I want 10% equity, he said over coffee, in exchange for initial capital investment, strategic guidance, and industry access. That's generous. It's fair. You're the talent. I'm just the infrastructure. Scarlett studied him. Why me? You could invest in anyone. Because you're not anyone. Alexander met her eyes. You're someone who walked away from power and money to rebuild yourself from scratch. That takes courage. I invest in courage. Something warm spread through Scarlett's chest. Not attraction, not exactly, just recognition. Someone seeing her, really seeing her, not as Damien's wife, not as a placeholder, not as furniture, as herself. Okay, she said, let's do it. They shook hands across the table, and Scarlett felt her new life click into place. The partnership with Alexander changed everything. Within 2 weeks, Scarlett's work appeared in 3 major boutiques. Within a month, a fashion magazine did a profile piece, The Rising Star of Celestial Jewelry. Within 6 weeks, she hired 4 more designers and moved into a proper studio space in Dumbo with views of the Manhattan Bridge. Her company even got a name, Celestia Noir. Alexander was there for all of it. Strategic, supportive, never intrusive, he introduced her to buyers, negotiated contracts, handled the business side while Scarlett focused on creating. They fell into an easy rhythm, weekly dinners to discuss progress, occasional gallery openings. One memorable night at Lincoln Center, watching a ballet neither of them particularly cared about, but both pretending to appreciate. This is awful, Alexander whispered during intermission. Scarlett laughed. Completely awful. Want to leave? Desperately. They ditched the ballet and got pizza instead. Sat on a bench in Central Park eating slices while tourists took photos and street performers played instruments slightly out of tune. Thank you, Scarlett said quietly. For what? For seeing potential instead of damage. Alexander looked at her. You were never damaged, Scarlett, just temporarily trapped. Same thing. Not even close. They sat in comfortable silence. Scarlett felt something shift. Not love. Not yet. But possibility. The possibility of being loved by someone who didn't need her to be invisible. Her phone buzzed. A Chicago number she didn't recognize. She ignored it. It buzzed again. Text message this time. Unknown. We need to talk. It's about Damien. Eleanor Scarlett's stomach dropped. Everything okay? Alexander asked. I don't know. She called the number. Eleanor answered immediately. Scarlett. Thank God. What's wrong? It's Vanessa. Eleanor's voice shook. She stole from us. What? $300 million, maybe more. Damien funneled money into her fashion company for years. We just discovered it was all fraud, fake invoices, offshore accounts, forged documents. Eleanor's breath came fast. She's been stealing from the syndicate since before you married Damien. Scarlett's world tilted. That's not possible. It's very possible. And now she's disappeared. Damien is... Eleanor's voice broke. He's not handling it well. Why are you telling me this? Because he needs you. Scarlett laughed. It came out harsh. He needs Vanessa. He's always needed Vanessa. Vanessa destroyed him. She used his love to rob him blind. The empire is collapsing. Federal investigations. Rival families moving in. Internal betrayals. Eleanor paused. And I had a heart attack 2 days ago. The phone nearly slipped from Scarlett's hand. Eleanor! I'm fine. Stable. But Scarlett, I need you to understand something. Eleanor's voice dropped. My son is losing everything. His money, his power, his mother's health, and he finally realizes that the only person who ever truly loved him was the one he let walk away. That's not my problem anymore. I know you owe us nothing, but please, Eleanor's voice cracked completely. Please just talk to him. Once, that's all I'm asking. Scarlett closed her eyes. Beside her, Alexander was watching with concern. I'll think about it, Scarlett whispered. She hung up before Eleanor could respond. Trouble? Alexander asked. My ex-husband's life is falling apart, and his mother wants you to save him. Something like that. Alexander was quiet for a moment. Then, do you still love him? Scarlett looked at the Manhattan skyline, at her new life, at everything she'd built without Damien. I don't know, she said honestly. That's a yes. It's complicated. It always is. Alexander stood, offered his hand. Come on, I'll walk you home. They walked through the park in silence. At Scarlett's building, Alexander stopped. For what it's worth, he said, you don't owe him anything. You rebuilt yourself. That's rare. Don't let him pull you back into his wreckage. I won't. But if you need to go back to get closure, I understand. Scarlett looked up at him. You're being very understanding about your business partner maybe flying to Chicago to see her dying ex-husband's empire collapse. I'm investing in you, not your past. Alexander smiled slightly. Whatever you need to do to move forward, do it. I'll still be here. He left before she could respond. Scarlett went upstairs, sat in her empty apartment, stared at her phone. $300 million. Vanessa had stolen $300 million. From the Moretti syndicate. From Damien. Using his love as a weapon, Scarlett should have felt vindicated. Should have felt satisfied that Damien was finally paying for choosing Vanessa over her, but she just felt sick. Her phone rang, Damien's number this time. She answered without thinking. Scarlett. His voice sounded destroyed. Did my mother call you? Yes. Then you know. I know. Silence. Then, I was wrong. About what? Everything. Damien's voice cracked. About Vanessa. About you. About thinking I could control who I loved. Scarlett's throat tightened. Damien, I don't expect you to care. I don't expect you to come back. He stopped. I just needed you to know that I finally understand what I lost. You didn't lose me. You threw me away. No. You humiliated me, defended her, made me apologize while she destroyed my grandmother's shawl. I know. You spent 3 years treating me like furniture while worshiping a woman who was robbing you blind. I know. Damien's breath shook. I know all of it, and I'm sorry. I'm so fucking sorry. Scarlett pressed her hand against her mouth, tears streaming down her face. I can't do this. I'm not asking you to. I'm sorry. The line went dead. Scarlett sat alone in her apartment, crying for the first time since leaving Chicago. Crying for the girl who'd loved Damien Moretti. Crying for the 3 years she'd wasted. Crying for the man who'd finally woken up too late. Outside her window, Brooklyn glittered. Inside, Scarlett's carefully rebuilt world started cracking at the edges. And somewhere in Chicago, Damien Moretti's empire burned while he finally understood what real loss felt like. Scarlett didn't sleep that night. She sat at her work table designing a new piece, a necklace, brutal and beautiful. Silver wire twisted into thorns around a crescent moon, pain transformed into art. At dawn, Carmen arrived early and found her still working. You okay? No? Want to talk about it? He called, apologized, admitted he was wrong about everything. Carmen set down her bag. And? And I still love him. Scarlett's hands shook. After everything, I still fucking love him. So what are you going to do? Scarlett looked at the necklace, at the thorns she'd created, at the sharp edges that could cut or protect depending on how you held them. I don't know, she whispered. Her phone buzzed. Alexander. Alexander. Vogue wants to feature Celestia Noir in their December issue. This is big. Call me. This was everything she'd worked for, everything she'd built, her new life, her freedom, her future. But Chicago was still burning, and Damien was still drowning. Scarlett stood, grabbed her coat. Where are you going? Carmen asked. To make a choice. She walked out into the morning, got on the subway, rode to Penn Station, stood in front of the departures board staring at the Chicago trains. One word from her and she could go back, try to save him, try to forgive him, try to rebuild what they'd never really had. Or she could walk away. For real this time. Let him drown in the consequences of his choices. Focus on Celestia Noir. Focus on Alexander. Focus on the life where she finally mattered. The announcement board flickered. Chicago, track 7, departing in 15 minutes. Scarlett's phone rang. Alexander, she answered. Did you get my message? He asked. I got it. Vogue, Scarlett, this changes everything. I know. We need to meet with their editor next week. Start planning the shoot. This is... Alexander paused. Where are you? You sound strange. Scarlett looked at track 7, at the train that could take her back to Chicago, back to Damien, back to everything she'd escaped. I'm at Penn Station. Alexander was quiet for a long moment. Are you going back to him? I don't know. Scarlett, tell me not to. Tell me it's stupid. Tell me I'll regret it. I can't tell you that. Why not? Because some things you have to figure out for yourself. Alexander's voice softened. But I will tell you this. Whatever you choose it because it's what you want. Not because you feel obligated. Not because you feel guilty. Not because someone's mother had a heart attack. What if I don't know what I want? Then don't get on that train. Not yet. The final boarding call echoed through the station. Scarlett stood frozen, caught between two lives, two futures, two versions of herself. The woman who went back to save the man who'd destroyed her, or the woman who walked away and never looked back. The train doors started closing. Scarlett made her choice. Scarlett didn't get on the train. She stood on the platform watching it pull away, carrying all the passengers who knew where they were going, who'd made their choices, who weren't trapped between two impossible futures. The station emptied around her, commuters rushing, announcements echoing, everyone moving except her. Her phone buzzed. Alexander again. I'm still here, she said before he could ask. Good. Relief colored his voice. Come to my office. We need to prep for Vogue. I can't think about Vogue right now. Then come anyway. Sometimes the best way to clear your head is to focus on what you can control. He was right. He was always right. Scarlett took the subway to Midtown. Alexander's office occupied the top floor of a building near Bryant Park. All glass walls and minimalist furniture, and the kind of quiet wealth that didn't need to announce itself. He was waiting when she arrived. Coffee already made. Papers spread across the conference table. You look like hell, he said. I feel like hell. Sit. Drink this. He handed her a cup. Then tell me what's really going on. Scarlett wrapped her hands around the warm ceramic. His mother had a heart attack because of the stress. His empire is collapsing. The woman he loved for years robbed him blind and disappeared. And he finally apologized. And you want to go back? I want to stop caring. Not the same thing. Scarlett looked at Alexander, at this man who'd invested in her, who'd believed in her, who'd never asked her to be anything except herself. Why are you being so understanding about this? Because I've been where you are. Alexander sat across from her. 5 years ago, I was engaged to someone I thought I loved, called it off 3 weeks before the wedding, spent the next year convinced I'd made a mistake, almost went back a dozen times. What stopped you? I realized I wasn't missing her. I was missing the idea of her. The fantasy I'd built in my head that had nothing to do with reality. Alexander's eyes held hers. So I'm asking you, do you love Damien Moretti? Or do you love who you thought he could be? The question cut clean through. Scarlett didn't have an answer. Think about it, Alexander said. And while you're thinking, let's talk about Vogue. They spent 3 hours planning. Photo shoot concepts, designer profiles, production timelines. Alexander had already contacted stylists, photographers, locations. He'd built an entire campaign around Celestia Noir, while Scarlett had been drowning in Chicago nostalgia. This is incredible, she whispered, looking at the mood boards he'd prepared. This is business. You're the incredible part. Alexander leaned back. Vogue wants you in their December issue. That's 5 million readers, 5 million potential customers. This could take Celestia Noir from boutique brand to household name. If I don't fuck it up, you won't. You don't know that. I do. Alexander's voice went quiet. I've invested in a lot of people, Scarlett. Most of them were talented, some were brilliant, but you're the first one I've met who transforms pain into something people want to carry with them. That's rare. That's valuable. That's why this will work. Something warm spread through Scarlett's chest. Not love, not yet, but recognition, understanding, the feeling of being seen completely and still deemed worthy. Her phone buzzed, Chicago number. She ignored it. It buzzed again. Text message. Eleanor. Please call me. It's urgent. Scarlett showed Alexander the screen. You should probably take that, he said. She stepped into the hallway, called Eleanor. Scarlett, thank God. Eleanor's voice was ragged. Where are you? New York. What's wrong? Federal agents raided the estate this morning. They're seizing everything. Bank accounts, properties, business holdings. They're dismantling the entire syndicate. Scarlett's stomach dropped. Jesus. Damien's being investigated for racketeering, money laundering, fraud conspiracy. They're building a case. They want to send him to prison for life. Eleanor and Vanessa surfaced in Las Vegas, running an illegal gambling operation with our stolen money. Eleanor's breath hitched. Damien found out an hour ago. He's not himself, Scarlett. He's talking about going after her personally, about making her pay. I'm afraid he's going to do something catastrophic. Call his lawyers. Call his security team. Call anyone except me. They won't listen. You're the only person who ever had any real influence over him. That's not true. It is true. He just never realized it until you left. Eleanor paused. I'm begging you. Come back. Talk to him. Before he destroys what little we have left. Scarlett closed her eyes. I can't save him. I'm not asking you to save him. I'm asking you to stop him from committing suicide by vendetta. The line went dead. Scarlett stood in the hallway, breathing hard. Her reflection stared back from the glass walls. Professional, put together, successful. Everything she'd built in the past 2 months. Everything that would disappear the second she got involved in Damien's collapse. She went back inside. Alexander looked up from his papers. Federal raid, Scarlett said. They're dismantling the Moretti empire, and Damien's about to do something stupid. Let him. Alexander, I mean it. Alexander stood. Let him face the consequences of his choices. You spent 3 years sacrificing yourself for a man who didn't appreciate you. Don't spend the rest of your life cleaning up his mistakes. His mother had a heart attack. Not your fault. She's asking me to stop him from getting himself killed. Also not your responsibility. Alexander moved closer. Scarlett, I need you to hear this. You are not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm, especially people who let you freeze for years. He was right. Logically. Completely. Absolutely right. But logic didn't stop Scarlett's chest from tightening, didn't stop her hands from shaking, didn't stop the voice in her head that kept whispering, what if he dies and you could have stopped it? I need 24 hours, she said. For what? To go to Chicago, talk to him, make sure he's not going to do anything catastrophic. Then I'm done. Forever. Alexander's jaw tightened. You're making a mistake. Probably. If you go back now, you might not come back. I'll come back. How do you know? Scarlett looked at the Vogue materials spread across the table, at the future Alexander had built for her, at the life she actually wanted. Because this matters more, she said quietly. Alexander was silent for a long moment. Then he nodded. 24 hours. After that, we have work to do. Thank you. Don't thank me, just come back. Scarlett grabbed her coat and left before she could change her mind. The flight to Chicago left at 6 p.m. Scarlett spent the entire 2 hours staring out the window, trying not to think about what she was walking back into. A car was waiting at O'Hare. Not Moretti Syndicate this time. Just a regular Uber driver who made small talk about the weather while Scarlett's stomach twisted into knots. She'd texted Eleanor from the airport. I'm coming. Where is he? The response came immediately. The downtown office, same place you signed the contract 3 years ago. He's been there for hours. Won't answer calls. Perfect. Full circle. Ending where it started. Downtown Chicago looked different at night. Colder, sharper. The skyline glittered like broken glass against the dark sky. The office building was mostly empty. Just security guards and cleaning crews and the kind of people who worked late because they had nowhere else to go. Scarlett took the elevator to the 43rd floor. Her heels echoed through empty hallways. Law firm names on frosted glass doors. Everything sterile and expensive and hollow. Damien's office door was closed but unlocked. Scarlett pushed it open. He sat at his desk in the dark. No lights except the city glow through the windows. Whiskey bottle open beside him, glass empty, gun on the desk. Scarlett's blood turned to ice. Damien. He looked up, eyes hollow, face gaunt. He'd lost weight since she'd seen him in the hospital. Lost something else, too. That dangerous charisma, that controlled violence. Now he just looked broken. You came, he said, voice flat. Your mother called. Of course she did. Damien poured more whiskey, drank it straight. She thinks you can save me. Can I? No one can save me, Scarlett. I'm already dead, just waiting for the funeral. Scarlett moved closer, saw the documents scattered across his desk. Federal indictments, asset seizures, bank statements showing accounts frozen or emptied, the complete destruction of everything the Moretti family had built over 3 generations. Put the gun away, she said quietly. Why? Because I didn't fly to Chicago to watch you blow your brains out. Then you shouldn't have come. Damien's hand drifted toward the weapon. This is mercy, faster than what's coming. Which is what? Prison? Prison, poverty, obscurity, living long enough to watch everything I built turn to ash. His laugh came out bitter. Or I could skip all that and end it now. Clean, simple, done. Scarlett grabbed the gun before he could. Damien stood fast. Give it back. No. Scarlett, you don't get to do this. Her voice shook. You don't get to spend 3 years destroying me and then check out before facing consequences. I'm facing them now. You're running from them, like you've run from everything real your entire life. Scarlett ejected the magazine, cleared the chamber, set the pieces on the desk far from his reach. You ran from our marriage into Vanessa's fantasy. You ran from responsibility into obsession. You ran from every hard truth until reality cornered you. Well, congratulations, Damien. You're finally trapped. He stared at her. You hate me. I should hate you. But you don't. I don't know what I feel. Scarlett's hands curled into fists. I left. I rebuilt my life. I'm finally successful, finally happy, finally free. And then your mother calls saying you're falling apart and her voice cracked. I got on a plane. Again. Because apparently I'm still the idiot who loves you even though you've never loved me back. That's not true. Don't. Scarlett, don't you dare tell me you loved me. Not now, not after everything. Damien moved around the desk, close enough that Scarlett could smell the whiskey on his breath, could see the dark circles under his eyes, could feel the desperation radiating off him like heat. I didn't know how to love you, he said quietly. I was too busy chasing a ghost. Vanessa wasn't a ghost. She was real, and she robbed you blind. I know. $300 million, Damien. She stole $300 million. I know. Using your love as a weapon. I know. His voice broke. I know all of it. Every humiliating detail. Every stupid decision. Every time I chose her over you. I know. Scarlett's chest tightened. Then why did you do it? Because I'm a coward. Damien's eyes met hers. Because loving her was safe. She was never really mine, so I never had to risk actually losing her. But you were right there, real, solid, offering me something genuine, and that terrified me. Because if I let myself love you and you left, I'd have nothing to hide behind. The words hung between them. Scarlett wanted to scream, wanted to hit him, wanted to make him hurt the way she'd hurt for 3 years. But standing there looking at his destroyed face, she just felt tired. "You're a fucking idiot," she whispered. "I know. And I hate that I still care. I know that too." They stood in the dark office while Chicago glittered below, and Damien's empire burned and everything they'd never been crashed around them. "Where's Vanessa now?" Scarlett asked finally. "Las Vegas, running an underground casino with our money. Federal agents are tracking her, but she keeps moving. And you want to go after her yourself?" "Yes." "That's suicide." "I don't care." "Well, I do." Scarlett grabbed his arm. "You go to Las Vegas chasing revenge and you'll end up dead or in prison. Either way, you lose. Vanessa wins, and everything your family built dies with you. It's already dead." "Not yet. You still have lawyers, resources, people loyal to you. If you're smart, if you actually think instead of just reacting, you might salvage something." Damien pulled away. "Why do you care? After everything I did to you, why the fuck do you care if I destroy myself?" "Because someone has to." Scarlett's voice went quiet. "Because your mother just had a heart attack worrying about you. Because despite being a terrible husband, you're not a completely terrible person. And because—" She stopped. "Because what?" "Because I'm still stupid enough to hope you might become the man I thought I was marrying." The silence stretched. Then Damien's phone rang. He ignored it. It rang again, third time, fourth. He finally answered. "What?" Scarlett watched his face change. Go white, then red, then something darker. "When?" His voice cut like glass. "How many casualties?" He listened, jaw tightening, hand gripping the phone so hard his knuckles went white. "I'll be there in 20 minutes. He hung up, looked at Scarlett. "There's been an attack." "What kind of attack?" "Bombing. At one of our remaining casinos. Downtown location. 12 people injured. 3 dead." Damien grabbed his coat. "Vanessa sent a message with the explosion. Said if I want my money back, I come to Las Vegas alone. Tomorrow night. Midnight. Otherwise she starts destroying everything I have left." Scarlett's stomach dropped. "That's a trap. Obviously." "You can't go." "I don't have a choice." "Yes, you do. You call the FBI. You let them handle it." "The FBI wants to bury me. They won't help." "Then you run. Disappear. Start over somewhere else." Damien stopped at the door. Turned. "I'm not you, Scarlett. I can't just walk away and rebuild from scratch. This empire is all I am, all I've ever been. Without it, I'm nothing." "That's not true." "It is true. You know it. I know it. Everyone knows it." He moved closer. "But maybe if I can get the money back, expose what Vanessa did, maybe the feds will ease up. Maybe I can salvage something. Maybe you'll get yourself killed. Better than living like this." He walked out before Scarlett could stop him. She stood alone in the office, heart pounding, mind racing. Damien was going to Las Vegas tomorrow night, walking straight into Vanessa's trap, and Scarlett had 24 hours to decide if she was going to let him die alone. She called Alexander from the hotel. "You said 24 hours, he said without preamble. "It's been 8. There's been a bombing, 3 dead. Vanessa's demanding Damien come to Las Vegas tomorrow night, or she destroys everything he has left." Alexander was quiet for a long moment. "And you're thinking about going with him?" "I don't know what I'm thinking." "Scarlett, I know. I know it's stupid. I know it's dangerous. I know I should walk away." Her voice cracked. "But Alexander, if I don't go and he dies, then he dies. And you move forward." Alexander's voice went hard. "This is exactly what I warned you about. You go back and you get sucked into his chaos. You can't save him. You can only destroy yourself trying." "I'm not trying to save him. I'm trying to stop him from getting killed over pride and revenge." "Same thing." "It's not." "It is. You're making his crisis your responsibility. You're sacrificing your future for his past. You're choosing him over everything we've built. Alexander paused. Over everything I've invested in you. The words landed like a punch. Are you saying if I go to Las Vegas, we're done? Scarlett asked quietly. I'm saying if you go to Las Vegas, you're choosing chaos over stability, drama over peace, a man who destroyed you over a partnership that could actually make you happy. Alexander's voice softened. I can't compete with that kind of self-destruction, Scarlett. I won't. So it's an ultimatum. It's reality. You want both lives. You can't have both. Choose. The line went dead. Scarlett sat on the hotel bed staring at her phone. On one side, Alexander, Vogue, Celestia Noir, success, stability, a future built on her own terms. On the other side, Damien, danger, chaos, a probably fatal trip to Las Vegas chasing a woman who'd destroyed everything he'd ever built. The choice should have been obvious, but Scarlett's hands were shaking. Her phone buzzed. Eleanor. Eleanor. Did you stop him? Scarlett. He's going to Las Vegas tomorrow night. Vanessa's trap. Eleanor. Then go with him. Please. You're the only person he might listen to. Scarlett. I can't. I have a life in New York, a business, a future. Eleanor. You also have a husband who's about to get himself killed. Scarlett. Ex-husband. The contract expired. Eleanor. The divorce isn't final. Legally, you're still married, which means if he dies, everything he has left becomes yours. Scarlett stared at the message. Everything he has left. Which was what exactly? A collapsing empire. Federal indictments, frozen assets, enemies circling, debt drowning debt. Nothing worth inheriting except more chaos. But Eleanor's next message made her go cold. Eleanor. Including the evidence that could clear his name. Scarlett. What evidence? Eleanor. Financial records proving Vanessa forged everything, that she manipulated Damien, that the fraud was entirely hers. I found them today going through his office files. If the FBI sees these, Damien walks. Vanessa goes to prison forever. Scarlett. Then give them to the FBI yourself. Eleanor. I can't. The files are encrypted, password protected. Only Damien knows the codes, and he won't share them with anyone except you. Scarlett's heart stopped. Scarlett. Why me? Eleanor. Because despite everything, you're the only person he trusts not to use them as leverage. The only person who wouldn't sell him out. Scarlett. That's insane. Eleanor. That's love. Scarlett threw her phone across the room. It hit the wall, didn't break, just lay there buzzing with incoming messages she couldn't bear to read. She was trapped. If she went to Las Vegas, she risked everything she'd built. Lost Alexander, lost Celestia Noir, lost her future. If she didn't go, Damien died, or went to prison, or both. And any chance of him clearing his name died with him. Scarlett grabbed her laptop, booked a flight to Las Vegas leaving tomorrow morning. Then she called Alexander one more time. He didn't answer. She left a voicemail. I'm sorry. I know you think I'm choosing him, but I'm choosing the truth. There's evidence that could clear his name. I can't let that die with him. I can't. I'm going to Las Vegas. I'll be back in 48 hours, and then I'm done. Forever. I promise. She hung up before her voice could break completely. Then she packed, called Damien, told him she was coming with him whether he liked it or not. He didn't argue, just said, okay, like he'd been expecting it. Like he'd known all along she couldn't actually walk away. Scarlett spent the rest of the night staring at the ceiling, wondering when exactly she'd lost control of her own life, wondering if she'd ever had control at all. They flew to Las Vegas the next afternoon on a private jet that somehow hadn't been seized yet. Damien sat across from her in silence, drinking, staring out the window, looking like a man heading to his own execution. Tell me about the evidence, Scarlett said. What evidence? The files your mother found, the encrypted records that prove Vanessa forged everything. Damien's jaw tightened. My mother talks too much. She's trying to save you. I don't want to be saved. Too bad. I didn't fly to Las Vegas for the scenery. Scarlett leaned forward. Give me the passwords. Let me take the files to the FBI. Let them handle Vanessa while you stay alive. No. Why not? Because Vanessa has leverage too. Damien finally looked at her. She has documents linking me to murders, extortion, witness tampering, things I actually did, things that would send me to prison even if she goes down too. Scarlett's stomach turned over. Jesus Christ, Damien. I'm not a good man, Scarlett. I never pretended to be. But you let me pretend. You let me marry you thinking... She stopped. What else? What else did you hide? Everything. His voice went flat. The casinos were fronts for money laundering. The shipping company moved drugs. The security firm handled contract killings. Every legitimate business was cover for something darker. You knew that. You had to know. I knew it was organized crime. I didn't know it was... Scarlett pressed her hands against her face. Murder? 3 times. All sanctioned hits. All people who threatened the family. Oh my God. Now you understand why I can't just hand over files and walk away. Vanessa has proof. If I expose her, she exposes me. We both go down. Then what's the plan? You go to Las Vegas and what? Kill her? Damien didn't answer. Scarlett's blood went cold. You're planning to kill her. I'm planning to end this. By committing murder in front of witnesses? By making sure she can't destroy anyone else. That's not justice. That's suicide by vendetta. Maybe. Damien poured more whiskey. But at least it's honest. The plane started descending. Las Vegas sprawled below them, glittering desert mirage built on gambling and desperation and broken dreams. Perfect place to die. They landed at a private airfield. A car was waiting. Black SUV with tinted windows and a driver who didn't speak. Damien gave an address. The driver nodded and pulled away from the airport. Where are we going? Scarlett asked. The Mirage Casino, downtown. Vanessa's operating out of the basement levels, running an illegal high-stakes operation. How do you know? I still have contacts, people who owe me favors, people who might betray you. Probably. Damien checked his phone. Midnight. She wants me there at midnight. Scarlett looked at her watch. 7 p.m., 5 hours. What happens at midnight? I go in alone. You stay in the car. Like hell. Scarlett, you think I flew to Las Vegas to sit in a car while you walk into a trap? Forget it. I'm coming with you. It's too dangerous. Everything about this is dangerous. At least if I'm there, maybe you won't do something catastrophically stupid. Damien almost smiled. You don't know me very well if you think you can stop me from being stupid. I know you well enough. They drove in silence. Las Vegas lights burned against the desert darkness. Casinos everywhere. Hotels, bars, wedding chapels. Everything bright and desperate and hollow. The driver stopped at a hotel 6 blocks from the Mirage. Damien checked them in under fake names, paid cash, took a room on the 8th floor with a view of the Strip. Inside, he pulled out a duffel bag Scarlett hadn't seen him pack, unzipped it, guns. 3 of them. Ammunition, body armor, a knife. Scarlett's heart stopped. What is this? Insurance. This is a death wish. This is reality. Damien loaded one of the guns. Vanessa won't negotiate. She'll try to kill me the second I walk through the door. I need to be ready. Then don't walk through the door. I have to. Why? For money? For revenge? For pride? For truth? Damien looked at her. She destroyed me, Scarlett. Used my love to rob me blind. Turned me into a fool in front of everyone who ever respected me. I can't let that stand. Even if it kills you? Especially if it kills you. Even if it kills me. Scarlett grabbed his arm. Listen to yourself. You sound insane. Maybe I am insane. Maybe I've been insane since the day I handed you that contract instead of actually marrying you. Damien's voice went quiet. Maybe the only sane thing I ever did was let you walk away. Then let me walk away now. Don't make me watch you die. You don't have to watch. You can leave. Go back to New York. Back to Alexander. Back to your real life. I can't. Why not? Because... Scarlett's voice broke. Because if you die, I need to know I tried to stop you. Damien stared at her. Then he pulled her close, kissed her, hard, desperate, like drowning. Scarlett kissed him back, hating herself, hating him, hating that even now, even knowing everything, she still wanted this. When they broke apart, both of them were shaking. "I'm sorry," Damien whispered. "For all of it. For every moment I made you feel invisible. For choosing her over you. For wasting 3 years of your life. Stop. I mean it. You deserved better. You always deserved better. Then be better." Scarlett gripped his face. "Don't go to that casino. Don't throw your life away for revenge. Just be the man I thought I married." "I don't know how." "Then learn." Damien closed his eyes. "It's too late." "It's not. It is." He pulled away. "Vanessa sent another message 10 minutes ago. If I don't show up at midnight, she starts killing people. My remaining associates, their families, anyone still loyal to me. She'll burn through them one by one until I come." Scarlett's world tilted. She wouldn't. She absolutely would. She's already killed 3 people with that bombing. What's a few more? Then we call the police. The police won't move fast enough, and they'd probably arrest me first. Damien checked his watch. 4 hours. I have 4 hours to end this. He started putting on the body armor. Scarlett watched, numb, helpless. This was happening. Actually happening. Damien was going to walk into Vanessa's trap and probably die, and there was nothing Scarlett could do to stop him. Unless... "Give me the passwords," she said suddenly. Damien paused. "What?" "The encrypted files, the evidence. Give me the passwords." "Scarlett, if you're going to throw your life away, at least let me save your name. Give me the files. Let me take them to the FBI while you're confronting Vanessa. That way, if you die, she still goes down. And maybe the FBI goes easier on you for cooperating." Damien was quiet for a long moment. Then he pulled out his phone, typed something, sent it to her. "Those are the passwords. The files are on my personal server, cloud-based. You can access them from anywhere." Scarlett stared at the message. "Why are you trusting me with this?" "Because you're the only person who never betrayed me." Damien's smile was broken. "Even when I deserved it." He finished gearing up, checked his weapons, looked like a soldier heading to war. At 11:45, he grabbed his keys. "I'm going now." Scarlett stood. "I'm coming with you." "No." "Yes." "Scarlett, if you come with me, you could die. If I don't come with you, you definitely will." They stared at each other. Then Damien nodded. "Stay behind me. Do exactly what I say. And if shooting starts, you run. Understood?" "Understood." They left the hotel, got in the SUV, drove 6 blocks to the Mirage. The casino looked normal from outside. Bright lights, people streaming in and out, music and laughter and the electric buzz of money changing hands. But Damien led her around back, through an alley, down a service entrance, into the basement levels where legitimate casinos became something darker. The walls changed, concrete, dim lighting, heavy doors with keypads, security cameras everywhere. Damien moved like he knew the layout, like he'd been here before. They descended 3 levels. The temperature dropped. The air got stale. Sounds from above faded until all Scarlett could hear was her own heartbeat and Damien's breathing and the distant hum of machinery. At the bottom level, Damien stopped. Ahead, double doors. No windows. No visible guards. Too easy. "This is it," he said quietly. Scarlett's hands shook. "What's on the other side?" "Vanessa. Her operation. Probably a dozen armed guards, maybe more." "And your plan is to walk in and what? Start shooting?" "My plan is to get answers. And then yes, probably start shooting." "That's insane." "That's all I have left." Damien pulled out his gun, checked the chamber, looked at Scarlett one last time. "Last chance. You can still leave." Scarlett pulled out the small pistol he'd given her in the car. "I'm not leaving." "Then stay close." He kicked open the doors. The room beyond was huge. Underground casino, poker tables, roulette wheels, slot machines, all of it illegal, all of it running on Moretti money, and standing in the center, wearing a white dress and a smile that could cut glass. Vanessa Sinclair. "Damien," she said, "right on time." Guards materialized from the shadows. 10 of them. All armed, all pointing weapons at Damien and Scarlett. They were surrounded, trapped. And Vanessa's smile got wider. "I'm so glad you brought Scarlett," she said. "This is going to be so much more fun than I planned." Damien raised his gun. Where's my money? Gone. Spent. Invested in this. Vanessa gestured at the casino. Thank you for the capital. Couldn't have done it without you. I'll kill you. No, you won't, because if you shoot me, my guards shoot you and your lovely ex-wife. And then where does that leave us? Vanessa's eyes glittered. Dead. All of us. How tragic. Scarlett's pulse hammered. This was wrong. All of it wrong. Vanessa was too calm, too confident, like she'd been expecting them. Like this was all exactly according to plan. What do you want? Scarlett asked. Vanessa's attention shifted. Ah, she speaks. Tell me, Scarlett, how does it feel knowing you wasted 3 years on a man who never loved you? Better than being you. Is it? Because I got $300 million and you got a broken heart. Seems like I won. You're going to prison. Am I? Vanessa pulled out her phone, showed them the screen. These are the files Damien thinks will save him. The evidence proving I forged documents, except her smile turned vicious. I have copies, and I've already sent them to the FBI, along with additional evidence showing Damien as my willing accomplice. As far as the feds know, we planned this together. When they raid this casino in... She checked her watch. Approximately 3 minutes, they'll find both of us, and all the proof they need to send us both to prison forever. Damien's face went white. You're lying. I'm not. Listen. Sirens. Distant but getting closer. Federal raid. Vanessa had set them up, used Damien's desperation to lure him into a trap, and now the FBI was coming to arrest them both. You bitch, Damien breathed. I prefer entrepreneur. Vanessa backed toward a rear exit. Enjoy prison, darling. I'll think of you fondly. She disappeared through the door. Her guards followed, leaving Damien and Scarlett alone in an illegal casino as federal agents closed in. Scarlett grabbed Damien's arm. We have to run. There's nowhere to run. There's always somewhere. The front doors exploded inward. FBI agents poured in. Dozens of them. Tactical gear, assault rifles, shouting commands. FBI, hands up. Get on the ground. Damien dropped his weapon. Raised his hands. Scarlett did the same. An agent tackled Damien. Another grabbed Scarlett. Forced them both down. Handcuffs clicked. Damien Moretti, you're under arrest for racketeering, money laundering, conspiracy to commit fraud, and operating an illegal gambling enterprise. They dragged him toward the exit. Another agent pulled Scarlett up. Scarlett Moretti? Whitmore. My name is Whitmore. You're listed as Damien Moretti's legal spouse. That makes you complicit. You're under arrest too. Scarlett's world spun. I'm not. I didn't. Tell it to the judge. They hauled her out. Through the casino. Up the stairs. Into the Nevada night where police cars and federal vehicles blocked every street and news cameras caught everything. Scarlett saw herself on a nearby screen, hair wild, hands cuffed, being dragged into a federal vehicle beside Damien. The headline already scrolling below. Moretti crime empire collapses. Mafia boss and wife arrested in illegal casino raid. Wife. She was still his wife. Still trapped in a contract she'd tried to escape. Still drowning in Damien Moretti's chaos. And now she was going to prison for crimes she didn't commit. The federal vehicle door slammed shut. Damien sat across from her, cuffed, broken, destroyed. I'm sorry, he whispered. Scarlett looked at him, at the man who'd ruined her life, at the man she'd stupidly tried to save, and for the first time since meeting him, she felt absolutely nothing. So am I, she said. The vehicle pulled away. Behind them, Las Vegas glittered like a funeral pyre, and Scarlett Whitmore's carefully rebuilt life burned to ash. The federal holding cell smelled like disinfectant and desperation. Scarlett sat on a metal bench bolted to the concrete wall, still wearing the clothes she'd worn to Las Vegas. Her wrists ached where the handcuffs had been. Her head throbbed. The fluorescent lights overhead buzzed like angry insects. She'd been here for 6 hours. No lawyer, no phone call. No explanation beyond you're being held pending investigation. Through the small window in the steel door, she could see agents moving, talking, carrying files, building cases that would bury her. She pressed her forehead against the cold wall and tried not to scream. This wasn't supposed to happen. She was supposed to go to Las Vegas, stop Damien from doing something catastrophic, and return to New York. Return to Alexander. Return to Celestia Noir in Vogue and her actual life. Instead, she was locked in a federal holding cell facing charges for crimes she didn't commit. The door opened. An agent stepped inside. Female, mid-40s, carrying a tablet and wearing an expression that said she'd seen every kind of criminal and wasn't impressed by any of them. Ms. Whitmore, I'm Special Agent Linda Reeves. Scarlett didn't look up. I want a lawyer. You'll get one after we talk. I'm not talking without a lawyer. That's your right, but you should know we have evidence linking you to the Moretti organization's financial operations, bank transfers, email communications, meeting logs, your signature on corporate documents. Agent Reeves set the tablet on the bench. You want to claim you knew nothing about your husband's criminal empire? Fine, but the paper trail says otherwise. Scarlett's stomach turned over. I signed documents as his wife, social obligations, charity events. You managed his household, attended business dinners, hosted syndicate associates. Agent Reeves's voice stayed flat. You were either complicit or willfully ignorant. Either way, you're culpable. That's not true. Then help me understand. Agent Reeves sat down. Why did you go to Las Vegas? Why walk into an illegal casino with an armed fugitive if you weren't involved? He's not a fugitive. He hasn't been charged with... He has now. Racketeering, money laundering, operating illegal gambling enterprises, conspiracy to commit fraud. And as his legal spouse, you're implicated in all of it unless you cooperate. Scarlett's hands curled into fists. What do you want? Information, testimony. Help us build a case against Damien Moretti, and we can discuss reduced charges, maybe even immunity. You want me to testify against him? I want you to tell the truth. The truth is, I don't know anything useful. I was a wife on paper, a placeholder. He never told me about business operations. But you suspected. Suspecting isn't knowing. It's enough for conspiracy charges. Scarlett looked up, met Agent Reeves's eyes. I'm not testifying against him. Even though he destroyed your life? Even though. Why? Loyalty? Love? Stupidity? Because I'm not like Vanessa Sinclair. Scarlett's voice cut cold. I don't use people and throw them away when they're no longer useful. Agent Reeves studied her. Vanessa Sinclair is cooperating. Full immunity in exchange for testimony against Damien. She's already given us enough to bury him for life. The words hit like a physical blow. Of course Vanessa was cooperating. Of course she'd already made a deal. She'd planned this from the beginning. Steal the money, frame Damien, then turn evidence to save herself. Perfect, brutal, effective. Then you don't need me, Scarlett said quietly. We do. Because Vanessa's testimony alone isn't enough. Defense attorneys will argue she's lying to save herself. But if we have you, the wife who stood by him, who went to Las Vegas trying to stop him, that corroborates everything, makes the case airtight. So you want me to be the final nail in his coffin. I want you to be honest about what you know. I don't know anything that will help you. Agent Reeves stood. Then I guess you're going to prison alongside him. Hope $300 million was worth it. I never touched that money. Prove it. The door slammed shut. Scarlett sat alone in the cell while the walls closed in and her future collapsed. She'd lost everything. Celestia Noir, Alexander, her freedom, her name. All because she'd gotten on a plane to save a man who'd never saved her. Her phone, confiscated during booking, buzzed somewhere in the evidence lockup. She couldn't hear it, but she knew. Alexander was calling, or Maya, or Carmen wondering why Scarlett hadn't returned. They'd all think she'd chosen Damien, and they'd be right. Scarlett pressed her hands against her face and tried to breathe through the panic. There had to be a way out. Had to be some angle she wasn't seeing, some piece of evidence that could clear her name. The encrypted files. Damien had sent her the passwords. The files proving Vanessa forged everything. If Scarlett could access them, if she could show the FBI that Vanessa manipulated Damien. But Vanessa had copies, had already sent her version to the feds, and her version painted them both as willing conspirators. Scarlett was trapped, completely, utterly trapped. Unless she stood, moved to the door, pounded on the steel until her hands hurt. A guard appeared. Sit down. I need to speak to Agent Reeves now. She's done with you. Tell her I have information about Vanessa Sinclair. Tell her I can prove she's lying. The guard hesitated, then spoke into his radio. 10 minutes later, Agent Reeves returned. This better be good. Damien has encrypted files, evidence that Vanessa forged financial documents, manipulated records, made it look like he knew about the fraud when he didn't. Vanessa already told us about those files, said they're fabricated, that Damien created them after the fact to cover his tracks. She's lying. Prove it. Let me access the files. I have the passwords. Let me show you timestamps, metadata. Proof that these records existed before Vanessa's theft was discovered. Agent Reeves crossed her arms. Why should I trust you? Because I have nothing to gain from protecting him. Our marriage is over. The contract expired. I left Chicago 2 months ago and rebuilt my life in New York. The only reason I'm here is because I tried to stop him from doing something stupid. Scarlett's voice shook. I don't love him anymore, but I won't let Vanessa destroy him with lies. Agent Reeves was silent for a long moment. Then she pulled out her phone, made a call, spoke in clipped professional tones. When she hung up, her expression had shifted. You have 1 hour. Our tech team will monitor everything you access. If you try to delete evidence or warn Damien, you go straight to maximum security. Understood? Understood. They moved her to an interrogation room, set up a laptop, gave her supervised access. Scarlett's hands shook as she entered the passwords Damien had sent. The files opened. Thousands of documents, financial records, email chains, contracts, all organized by date and category. Scarlett started with the timestamps. Everything predated Vanessa's return to Chicago by months. Some files went back years, long before Damien started funneling money into her fake fashion company. These aren't fabricated, Scarlett said. Look at the metadata. These records were created in real time. Damien was tracking discrepancies, red flags. He suspected something was wrong, but didn't know what. Agent Reeves leaned over her shoulder. Or he created a cover story knowing he'd eventually get caught. Then why keep them encrypted? Why hide them from everyone, including his own lawyers? Because he's careful. Because he's ashamed. Scarlett pulled up an email chain. Look at this. Vanessa asking for another transfer. Damien questioning the amount. Her responding with medical bills for her mother's treatment. Except, she opened another file. The medical bills are forged. The hospital listed doesn't exist. The doctor's signature is fake. She was gaslighting him with fake emergencies. Agent Reeves studied the screen. This doesn't prove he's innocent, just proves he was gullible. It proves she manipulated him, used his emotions as a weapon. That's fraud. That's conspiracy. It's also not enough to clear him of the other charges: money laundering, racketeering, the illegal casino. Scarlett kept digging, found more files. Offshore accounts Vanessa had opened using Moretti shell companies. Transfers she'd authorized using forged signatures. A paper trail showing systematic theft over 3 years. She stole everything, Scarlett whispered. Every penny, and made it look like they were business partners. Can you prove Damien didn't know? Scarlett pulled up internal communications. Messages between Damien and his financial advisors expressing concern about cash flow issues. Questions about missing funds. Requests for audits that Vanessa had somehow blocked. He knew something was wrong. But she convinced him it was just bad investments, market downturns. She fed him explanations that sounded plausible because he trusted her. Agent Reeves' expression shifted. Not convinced, but considering. I need a conference with my team. She left Scarlett alone with the laptop. Scarlett kept searching, desperate, looking for the one piece of evidence that could save Damien, that could prove Vanessa orchestrated everything. And then she found it, an audio file, dated 6 months ago, labeled insurance. She clicked play. Vanessa's voice. You really think he'll figure it out? Unknown male voice. Eventually, but by then we'll be gone. Vanessa. And if he tries to stop us? Male voice. We'll make sure he can't. The FBI already suspects him. One anonymous tip and they'll raid everything. He'll go down for crimes we committed. Vanessa. What about his wife? Male voice. What about her? Vanessa. She's not stupid. She might piece things together. Male voice. Then we frame her too. Make it look like she was involved from the beginning. A conspiracy between all three of them. Vanessa laughing. Perfect. Damien loses everything: his empire, his freedom, his precious little wife, and I finally get what I deserve. The recording ended. Scarlett sat frozen, heart pounding, mind racing. This was it. Proof of conspiracy. Proof that Vanessa planned to frame both Scarlett and Damien. Proof that could blow the entire case apart. Agent Reeves returned with 2 other agents. "What did you find?" Scarlett played the audio file. The room went silent. When it finished, Agent Reeves looked at her colleagues. They nodded. "We need to verify this recording, check authenticity, identify the male voice." Agent Reeves turned to Scarlett. "If this is real, if it holds up forensically, Vanessa Sinclair's immunity deal is void." "It's real. We'll confirm that. In the meantime, you're being released pending investigation." Scarlett's chest tightened. "What about Damien?" "He's still facing charges for the underlying crimes: money laundering, racketeering, operating illegal businesses. This recording might clear him of conspiracy with Vanessa, but it doesn't erase everything else. But it proves he was manipulated, that he's a victim. He's a mafia boss who ran illegal operations for a decade. Victim or not, he's still a criminal." Agent Reeves' voice softened slightly. "But this recording helps, shows mitigating circumstances, might reduce his sentence significantly." "How significantly?" "That's for prosecutors to decide." An agent brought Scarlett's personal belongings: phone, wallet, keys, everything she'd had when they arrested her. Her phone showed 63 missed calls, 40 text messages, 3 voicemails, all from Alexander. The most recent text: "I saw the news. Call me, please." Scarlett's throat tightened. She'd destroyed everything, lost his trust, broken her promise, chosen chaos over the life they were building. "You're free to go," Agent Reeves said. "But don't leave Nevada. We'll need additional testimony as we build the case against Vanessa." "Where is she now?" "Protective custody. Until we verify this recording, she's still a cooperating witness." "And when you verify it?" "She's arrested for conspiracy, fraud, perjury, and accessory to whatever else we uncover." Agent Reeves almost smiled. "Turns out framing a mafia boss while stealing $300 million carries serious consequences." Scarlett walked out of the federal building into Las Vegas morning. The sun felt too bright, the air too hot. Everything sharp and disorienting. She called Alexander. He answered on the first ring. "Scarlett, Jesus Christ, are you okay?" "I'm okay, I'm out. They released me. I saw the arrest, the news coverage. I thought..." His voice cracked. "I thought I'd lost you." "You probably should have." "What does that mean?" "It means I broke every promise I made. I went to Las Vegas, I got arrested. I destroyed everything we built together." Alexander was quiet for a moment. "Did you find what you needed?" "What?" "In Chicago, in Las Vegas. Did you find closure? Did you get answers?" Scarlett looked at the federal building behind her, at the mess she'd waded into trying to save a man who'd never saved her. "I found the truth," she said quietly. "Vanessa framed us both. She planned everything. And I found proof." "Then you did the right thing." "The right thing would have been staying in New York." "The right thing would have been letting an innocent man go to prison for crimes he didn't commit." "He's not innocent, Alexander. He ran illegal operations for years. He's guilty of plenty, but not guilty of loving the wrong woman. That's just human." Alexander's voice softened. "Come home, Scarlett. We'll figure out the rest." "I can't. The FBI wants me to stay in Nevada, testify, help build the case." "How long?" "I don't know. Days, maybe weeks." "Then I'm coming to you." "Alexander, I'm booking a flight. I'll be there tonight. We'll deal with this together." "You don't have to cheat in." "I want to." He paused. "Unless you don't want me there." Scarlett closed her eyes. "I want you here." "Then I'm coming." After they hung up, Scarlett stood on the sidewalk trying to process everything. Vanessa was going down. The recording would destroy her immunity deal. She'd face charges for fraud, conspiracy, theft, perjury. Damien would still face consequences, but significantly reduced. Victim status might earn him a lighter sentence. Maybe even probation instead of prison. And Scarlett? Scarlett was free. Legally. Finally. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Scarlett Whitmore? Who is this? My name is Marcus Webb. I'm Damian Moretti's attorney. I understand you just secured his release from federal custody. I found evidence, that's all. That's everything. The FBI just informed me they're dropping conspiracy charges against Damian pending further investigation. Without those charges, their entire case weakens significantly. Scarlett's chest tightened. What does that mean? It means he's being released on bail, today, within the hour. That's good. He wants to see you. No? Ms. Whitmore, I said no. I did what I came to do. I found the truth. That's where this ends. He needs to thank you. He can send a card. Marcus Webb sighed. He's lost everything else, his empire, his money. His mother is in intensive care after another heart attack. Vanessa destroyed him. You're the only person who showed up. The only person who fought for him when everyone else walked away. I didn't fight for him. I fought for the truth. Same thing, isn't it? Scarlett wanted to argue, wanted to say it was different, that she'd stopped loving Damian the moment she walked out of the Moretti estate 2 months ago. But standing in Las Vegas sunshine with federal agents building cases and Alexander flying across the country and her entire life suspended in legal limbo, she didn't know what she felt anymore. Where is he? She asked quietly. Clark County Detention Center. He'll be processed out around 3 p.m. I'll think about it. She hung up before Marcus could respond. Then she got a hotel room, showered, changed into clean clothes, tried to decide what the hell she was supposed to do next. Her phone rang again. Eleanor this time. Scarlett? Thank God. I heard you were released. I'm fine, Eleanor. The attorney said you found evidence that you saved Damian from conspiracy charges. I found a recording, that's all. That's everything. My son was facing life in prison. Now he might walk away with probation. Eleanor's voice shook. How can I ever repay you? You can't, and I don't want you to try. Scarlett, how's your health? Eleanor was quiet for a moment. Not good. Another heart attack yesterday. The stress of Damian's arrest. The doctors say I need to reduce stress or, she didn't finish. Then reduce stress. Let your lawyers handle Damian. Focus on recovering. I can't stop worrying about him. You're going to have to, because worrying is killing you. Scarlett's voice softened. Eleanor, you've spent your entire life protecting your son. Let someone else do it for a while. Who? You? No. His lawyers, his associates, anyone except the woman who just had 2 heart attacks. Eleanor laughed. It came out wet. You're right. You're absolutely right. I don't know how to stop. Start by resting. Let Damian face his consequences like an adult. Will you be there? When he's released? Scarlett looked out the hotel window at Las Vegas sprawling in the desert heat. I don't know. He needs you. He needed Vanessa. Look how that turned out. Scarlett, I have to go. Take care of yourself, Eleanor. She hung up. At 2 p.m., Alexander texted, landing in 90 minutes. Where are you? Scarlett sent him the hotel address. At 2:30, she got a text from an unknown number. This is Damian. They're releasing me at 3. I know you don't owe me anything, but if you're still in Vegas, I'd like to see you. Just once. To say thank you. Scarlett stared at the message. She should delete it. Block the number. Focus on Alexander arriving. Focus on returning to New York. Focus on salvaging Celestia Noir and her actual life. But her hands were shaking. She called Marcus Webb. Where will Damian be after release? Probably the Bellagio. We have a suite reserved under my name. He can't return to Chicago until the investigation concludes. What room? Marcus gave her the details. Scarlett hung up, sat on the hotel bed, stared at her reflection in the mirror. She looked tired, destroyed, like someone who'd spent 2 months building a new life only to watch it collapse the second she looked back. At 3:15, her phone buzzed. Damian, I'm out. Room 4512 at the Bellagio if you want to talk. If not, I understand. Scarlett grabbed her coat, took the elevator down, got in a cab, gave the driver the Bellagio address. The entire ride, she told herself she was making a mistake, that seeing Damian would undo all the progress she'd made, that walking into his hotel room was choosing chaos over peace. But she didn't tell the driver to turn around. The Bellagio was excessive even by Las Vegas standards. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, fountains and flowers, and the kind of wealth that felt obscene after spending the night in a federal holding cell. Scarlett took the elevator to the 45th floor, found room 4512. Knocked before she could change her mind. Damien opened the door. He looked different, broken in ways that went beyond physical. His suit was wrinkled, his face was hollow. The dangerous charisma that used to follow him like cologne had vanished completely. He looked human, fragile, real. "You came," he said. "Don't make me regret it." Damien stepped aside. Let her enter. The suite was enormous, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the strip, living room, bedroom, wet bar. Everything expensive and soulless. Scarlett stood near the windows, kept distance between them. "Thank you," Damien said quietly, "for finding the recording, for showing the FBI, for," his voice cracked, "for saving me when I didn't deserve it." "I didn't save you. I found the truth. That's different." "Not from where I'm standing." Scarlett turned, looked at him. "Why did you keep that recording?" "Insurance. I suspected Vanessa was lying about something. I started recording our conversation 6 months ago without telling her. That file was one of dozens." Damien moved to the bar, poured whiskey. "I never imagined she'd confess to conspiracy on tape. You were smarter than you acted." "I was desperate." "There's a difference." He drank. "I lost everything, Scarlett. The empire, the money, my mother's health, my freedom. Everything I spent my life building is gone." "Good." Damien looked at her. "You think I deserve this?" "I think you earned this. You ran illegal operations, laundered money, hurt people. The only reason you're not in prison right now is because Vanessa's betrayal makes you sympathetic." Scarlett's voice went hard. "But sympathy doesn't erase what you did." "I know." "Do you? Because standing here in your expensive suite drinking expensive whiskey, you don't look like someone who's learned anything." "What do you want me to say?" "I want you to admit that you destroyed yourself. That Vanessa didn't ruin you. You ruined you by building an empire on violence and choosing a fantasy over reality and treating the one person who actually loved you like furniture." The words hung between them. Damien set his glass down. "You're right. I know I'm right. About all of it. I destroyed myself. I chose wrong. I hurt you in ways I can't fix." He moved closer. "But I'm asking anyway. For forgiveness. For a chance to, No." "Scarlett, no." She stepped back. "You don't get forgiveness. You don't get another chance. You get consequences. You get to rebuild from nothing like I had to. You get to feel what it's like to lose everything and start over." "I don't know how." "Then figure it out, the same way I did." Damien stared at her. "I loved you." Past tense. Good. "I still love you." Scarlett's chest tightened. "Don't. I mean it. I know I didn't show it. I know I chose her over you 1,000 times. But losing everything made me realize..." His voice broke. "You were the only real thing I ever had, and I threw you away. Yes, you did." "Can I fix it?" "No." "Can I try?" Scarlett looked at him. At this man she'd loved. This man who'd destroyed her. This man who was finally seeing her. "Too late. I'm with someone else," she said quietly. Damien went still. "The investor. Alexander." "Yes." "Do you love him?" "I'm learning to." "That's not the same as yes. It's close enough." They stood in silence. Las Vegas glittered below. Two people who'd almost had something real, separated by 3 years of mistakes neither could undo. "I won't bother you again," Damien said finally. "After this, after the investigation, I'll sign whatever divorce papers you want. I'll disappear. You'll never have to see me again." "Good. But Scarlett, don't." "I'm sorry. For all of it. For every moment I made you feel invisible. For wasting years of your life. For being too stupid and too scared to love you when I had the chance." Damien's voice shook. "You deserved better. You always deserved better." Scarlett's eyes burned. "I know." She walked to the door, hand on the handle. Behind her, Damien spoke one more time. "If you ever change your mind, I won't. But if you do, I'll be here, or wherever you need me to be, however long it takes." I'll prove I can be the man you thought you married. Scarlett opened the door. Goodbye, Damien. She walked out, down the hallway, into the elevator, through the lobby, out into Las Vegas heat. Her phone buzzed. Alexander. Just landed. On my way to your hotel. See you in 20 minutes. Scarlett took a cab back, got to her hotel just as Alexander's car pulled up. He got out, saw her, ran, pulled her into his arms, and held her like she might disappear. You're okay, he breathed. You're really okay. I'm okay. I thought I'd lost you. You almost did. Alexander pulled back, looked at her. Did you see him, Damien? Scarlett could have lied, could have said no, could have protected Alexander from the truth, but she was done with lies. Yes, I saw him. And I said goodbye. For real this time. She met Alexander's eyes. I chose you. I'm choosing you. If you'll still have me. Alexander kissed her, gentle, careful, like she was something precious. When they broke apart, he smiled. I'll always have you. They went inside, up to Scarlett's room, sat together while Las Vegas blazed outside and the world kept spinning, and Scarlett's old life finally released its grip. What happens now? Alexander asked. I testify. Help the FBI build their case against Vanessa. Then I go home to New York, back to Celestia Noir, back to my real life. And Damien? Faces whatever consequences come, without me. You sure? I'm sure. Alexander kissed her forehead. Then let's go home. But 2 days later, everything changed. Scarlett was in the federal building giving testimony when Agent Reeves's phone rang. She stepped out, came back 2 minutes later looking grim. What's wrong? Scarlett asked. Vanessa escaped protective custody. The room went cold. What do you mean escaped? She overpowered a guard, stole his weapon and vehicle, disappeared an hour ago. Agent Reeves's jaw tightened. She left a message. What message? Agent Reeves showed her the note, written in Vanessa's perfect handwriting. You took everything from me. Now I take everything from you, starting with the people you love. Scarlett's blood turned to ice. She's going after Damien, and possibly you. We're issuing protective details for both of you immediately. Where's Damien now? Still at the Bellagio. We have agents en route. Scarlett grabbed her phone, called Damien. No answer. Called again. Voicemail. We have to go. Now. Agent Reeves was already moving. Federal vehicles are outside. Stay with me. They ran, but Scarlett knew, with cold certainty that settled like lead in her stomach, they were already too late. Vanessa Sinclair had nothing left to lose. And people with nothing to lose were the most dangerous kind. The federal convoy tore through Las Vegas traffic with sirens screaming and lights cutting through late afternoon haze. Scarlett sat in the back seat gripping the door handle while Agent Reeves coordinated with tactical teams through her radio. Alexander sat beside her, jaw tight, saying nothing because there was nothing left to say. Vanessa had escaped, was armed, had threatened everyone Scarlett loved, and Damien wasn't answering his phone. ETA 3 minutes, the driver said. Scarlett's phone buzzed, text from an unknown number. She opened it. A photo. Damien tied to a chair in what looked like a warehouse, blood running down his face. Vanessa standing behind him holding a gun to his head. Below the image, come alone or I kill him. You have 20 minutes, address attached. Scarlett's hands shook so hard she nearly dropped the phone. Agent Reeves. I see it. Reeves was already on her radio. All units, location change. Suspect has moved to an industrial facility near the airport. Converge on coordinates now. She said, come alone. You're not going anywhere near that location. If I don't, she kills him. If you do, she kills you both. Agent Reeves turned in her seat. This is what she wants, Scarlett. You walking into her trap. We handle this tactically. SWAT teams, negotiators, controlled entry. By the time you coordinate all that, Damien's dead. Better him than you. Alexander grabbed Scarlett's hand. She's right. You can't go. I have to. No, you don't. He's not your responsibility anymore. He's still a human being. He's a criminal who spent 3 years destroying you. Let the professionals handle this. Scarlett looked at Alexander. At this good man who'd invested in her, who'd believed in her, who'd flown to Las Vegas to support her even after she'd broken every promise. "I know it doesn't make sense," she said quietly, "but I can't let her kill him, not like this." "Even if it means dying yourself?" "I'm not planning to die." Neither was he. Alexander's voice went hard. "But he walked into her trap anyway, and now you want to do the same thing." "I want to end this, once and for all, so I can actually move forward without his ghost hanging over everything." Alexander stared at her. "This is insane." "I know. If you go, we're done. I can't watch you throw yourself into his wreckage again." The words hit like a physical blow. But Scarlett understood. She'd choose Alexander over chaos. She'd promised him that, and here she was breaking that promise again. "I'm sorry," she whispered. She grabbed Agent Reeves's weapon from the holster on the seat between them and rolled out of the moving vehicle before anyone could stop her. Hit the pavement hard. Pain exploded through her shoulder. Cars swerved. Horns blared. Scarlett ran. Behind her, the federal convoy screeched to a stop. Agents shouted. Alexander called her name. But she was already gone. Into an alley, through a parking structure, out the other side. She flagged down a cab, gave the driver the warehouse address, offered him $300 cash to get there in 10 minutes and not ask questions. The driver took the money and drove. Scarlett checked the gun. Fully loaded. Safety off. Her hands were shaking, but her mind was clear. This was stupid, reckless, probably suicidal. But it was also the only way to end the cycle. The only way to stop running from Damien's collapse and finally face the woman who'd orchestrated all of it. The warehouse sat near the airport in a stretch of industrial wasteland. Abandoned factories, rusted equipment, chain-link fences topped with barbed wire. Scarlett paid the driver. Got out. Watched him speed away. Then she walked toward the warehouse alone. The front entrance was open. No guards. No obvious trap. Too easy. Way too easy. Scarlett entered anyway. Inside was darkness. Concrete floors, metal scaffolding, the smell of rust and oil and decay. "I'm here," she called. Her voice echoed. "Drop the gun," Vanessa's voice came from somewhere above. "Kick it away, or I shoot him right now." Scarlett set the weapon down, kicked it into the shadows. Lights flickered on, industrial floods that turned the warehouse into a stage. Damien sat tied to a chair in the center of the space, blood crusted on his face from a gash above his eye. His hands were bound behind him, ankles strapped to the chair legs. Vanessa stood behind him, gun pressed against his skull, still wearing that white dress from the casino, still beautiful in that way that made Scarlett's stomach turn. "You came," Vanessa said. "I wasn't sure you would." "Let him go." "Not yet. We need to talk first." "There's nothing to talk about." "Oh, I think there is." Vanessa's smile was vicious. "You destroyed my life, Scarlett. You found that recording, gave it to the FBI, turned me from protected witness to fugitive. Everything I built is gone because of you. Everything you built was stolen. I earned it. I spent years playing the long game, making Damien fall for me, gaining his trust, positioning myself to take everything." Vanessa's eyes glittered. "And it worked perfectly until you showed up with your moral superiority and your evidence. You framed us both. You were going to let us go to prison for your crimes. Collateral damage. Nothing personal. It was completely personal." "Maybe," Vanessa shrugged. "But it doesn't matter now, because I'm going to kill you both and disappear with whatever money I manage to move offshore. Clean slate, fresh start." Scarlett's pulse hammered. "The FBI will find you. Not if I'm smart. And I'm very smart. You escaped protective custody by assaulting a federal agent. That's not smart. That's desperate." "Same thing." Vanessa's finger tightened on the trigger. "Any last words, Damien?" Damien's eyes met Scarlett's. Even beaten and bleeding and about to die, he looked at her with something that might have been love, or might have been regret, or might have been both. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "For all of it. I know. I wasted everything, including you. I know that too." Vanessa laughed. "How touching. The doomed lovers finally understanding each other. Except you're not lovers anymore, are you, Scarlett? You're with someone else. That investor, Alexander." Scarlett didn't respond. Does he know you're here? Does he know you chose Damien again? I didn't choose Damien. I chose the truth. You chose to save him. Same thing. Vanessa pressed the gun harder against Damien's head. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to watch me kill him. Then I'm going to kill you. Then I'm going to disappear. And everyone will think the mafia boss and his wife murdered each other in a final desperate confrontation. Tragic, poetic, perfect. Except the FBI knows you're here. They know I escaped. They don't know where I went. I sent them the address before I arrived. Vanessa's expression flickered. You're lying. Check your perimeter. They're already surrounding this building. Vanessa moved to a window, looked out. Her face went white. Red and blue lights everywhere. Federal vehicles blocking every exit. SWAT teams taking positions. Snipers on rooftops. You bitch, Vanessa breathed. Scarlett had lied. She hadn't sent the address. But Agent Reeves was smart enough to track her phone, smart enough to know Scarlett would do something reckless. The cavalry had arrived. It's over, Scarlett said. Let him go. Surrender. Maybe they'll go easy on you. Easy? Vanessa's laugh came out broken. I assaulted a federal agent, escaped custody, kidnapped someone. I'm looking at life in prison. Better than a death sentence. Is it? Vanessa turned the gun from Damien to Scarlett. I don't think so. Time slowed. Scarlett saw Vanessa's finger tighten on the trigger, saw the calculation in her eyes, saw the moment she decided that if she was going down, she'd take Scarlett with her. Then Damien moved. Somehow, despite being bound to the chair, he threw his weight sideways. The chair toppled, took Vanessa's legs out from under her. The gun fired. The bullet went wide, hit concrete, ricocheted. Scarlett dove for the weapon she'd dropped earlier, found it in the shadows, spun. Vanessa was on top of Damien, gun pressed against his chest, screaming, I'll kill him! I'll fucking kill him! Then you die too, Scarlett said, voice steady, gun aimed. Because the second you pull that trigger, I shoot you, and those federal snipers outside shoot you, and you die knowing you lost everything for nothing. Vanessa's head shook. He deserves this. Maybe, but killing him won't fix what you broke. It'll feel good. For about 3 seconds, then you're dead. Is that really how you want this to end? Vanessa stared at her, at Scarlett holding that gun with hands that didn't shake anymore, at the woman she'd tried to destroy standing calm and certain and finally, free. I hate you, Vanessa whispered. I know. You ruined everything. No, you ruined everything. I just made sure everyone knew. Tears streamed down Vanessa's perfect face. Her gun hand trembled. Then she dropped the weapon, collapsed, started sobbing. Federal agents stormed in, tackled Vanessa, cuffed her, dragged her away screaming obscenities and threats that turned to pleas that turned to silence. Scarlett lowered her gun, set it down carefully. Agents surrounded Damien, cut his bonds, helped him stand. He could barely walk. Blood loss, shock, exhaustion. They led him toward the exit, toward ambulances waiting outside. But he stopped, turned, looked at Scarlett one last time. Thank you, he mouthed. Scarlett nodded, couldn't speak, couldn't move. Then he was gone. Into federal custody, into whatever consequences awaited him. And Scarlett stood alone in that warehouse while lights flashed and agents swarmed and her old life finally ended. Agent Reeves approached. That was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Probably. You could have died, but I didn't. Only because Damien took a bullet meant for you. Scarlett looked up. What? The ricochet. Hit him in the side. He's losing blood. Medics are working on him now. Scarlett's chest tightened. Is he? He'll live. Probably. Agent Reeves studied her. You love him. I used to. And now? Now I just want him to be okay. From a distance. For the rest of my life. Agent Reeves almost smiled. That's probably the healthiest thing I've heard all week. They walked outside together. Las Vegas evening painted the sky orange and purple. Ambulances loaded the wounded. Federal agents processed evidence. News helicopters circled like vultures. Scarlett saw Alexander standing near one of the federal vehicles. arms crossed, face unreadable. She walked toward him slowly, expecting anger, expecting ultimatums, expecting him to walk away. Instead, he just looked tired. "You're alive," he said. "Barely. I watched the whole thing through the window, saw you talk her down, saw Damien take that bullet, saw you become someone I don't recognize." Scarlett's throat tightened. "I'm sorry." "For what?" "For choosing his chaos over your stability, for breaking my promises, for being the kind of person who runs toward danger instead of away from it." Alexander was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "I'm not mad." "You should be." "I am, but I'm also—" He stopped. "I'm also realizing that the version of you I fell for includes this: the woman who can't walk away from injustice, who fights for truth even when it costs her everything, who risks her life to save someone who doesn't deserve it. That version of me is exhausting." "Yeah, she is," Alexander smiled slightly. "But she's also extraordinary." Scarlett's eyes burned. "I destroyed everything we built." "Not everything. Celestia Noir is still there. Vogue still wants the profile. Your designs are still brilliant." He moved closer. "The only question is whether you're ready to come back, or whether you need more time to close this chapter. It's closed. Completely. Forever." "You sure?" Scarlett looked at the ambulance carrying Damien away, at the warehouse where she'd almost died, at the wreckage of 3 years she'd spent loving the wrong man. "I'm sure." Alexander kissed her forehead. "Then let's go home." 3 months later, Scarlett stood in her Dumbo studio, surrounded by journalists and photographers and industry people who'd come to see Celestia Noir's latest collection. The Vogue profile had launched 2 weeks earlier, 5 pages. Gorgeous photography. An interview where Scarlett talked about transforming pain into beauty without mentioning Damien's name once. Sales had exploded. Boutiques across the country carried her work. A major department store wanted an exclusive line. Investors were circling with offers that made Alexander's initial backing look quaint. Scarlett had built something real, something that belonged entirely to her. Maya appeared at her elbow holding champagne. "You're a superstar." "I'm a person who makes jewelry. You're a person who makes art that people want to wear every day for the rest of their lives. That's a superstar." Maya clinked her glass against Scarlett's. "I'm proud of you." "For what?" "For surviving, for leaving, for rebuilding, for not looking back." Scarlett smiled. "I looked back once, and almost got killed. Then you stopped looking back. That's growth." Across the room, Alexander was talking with a buyer from Barney's. He caught Scarlett's eye. Smiled. "Mouth doing okay?" She nodded. Things with Alexander were good, not perfect, not uncomplicated, but good. He understood that she'd needed closure, that walking away from Damien in that warehouse was different than walking away from the Moretti estate 2 months earlier. The first time had been escape. The second time had been choice. And choice made all the difference. "Have you heard anything?" Maya asked quietly. "About him?" Scarlett didn't need to ask who. "He took a plea deal, pleaded guilty to racketeering and money laundering, got 8 years with possibility of parole in 4. Better than life. Better than dead. Do you think about him?" "Sometimes. Less every day." Scarlett looked at her designs displayed around the studio. Celestial pieces, stars and moons and constellations mapped in precious metal. "He exists in my past now, not my present." "Good, because your present is pretty spectacular." A gallery owner approached, wanting to discuss a solo show. Scarlett excused herself and spent 20 minutes talking about exhibition concepts and installation ideas. By the time the event wound down, she was exhausted. Good exhausted. The kind that came from building something instead of surviving something. Alexander offered to drive her home. They took the bridge into Manhattan while the city glittered across the water. "What are you thinking?" he asked. "That I'm happy. Actually happy. For the first time in years." "What changed?" Scarlett thought about it. "I stopped waiting for someone else to make me whole. Stopped believing I needed to be loved by a specific person to have value. Started understanding that the best love I could offer anyone was the version that came after I'd learned to love myself." Alexander reached for her hand. "That's beautiful." "It's true." Both things can be true. They drove in comfortable silence. At her apartment, Alexander walked her upstairs. "Stay," Scarlett said at the door. "You sure?" "I'm sure." They went inside together, made dinner, talked about the Vogue piece and upcoming shows and the direction Celestia Noir should take next. Later, lying in bed with Alexander's arm around her and city sounds drifting through the window, Scarlett felt something settle in her chest. Peace. Not the absence of pain, but the presence of purpose. The understanding that she'd survived something brutal and come out stronger on the other side. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. She almost ignored it, but something made her check. A message from an unknown number. "I saw the Vogue piece. Your work is extraordinary. I'm happy for you." Scarlett stared at the message. She could respond, could say thank you, could ask how he was doing in prison, but she didn't. She deleted the message, blocked the number, set the phone down. Damien Moretti had been her husband, her mistake, her lesson, but he wasn't her future. Alexander stirred. "Everything okay?" "Everything's perfect," Scarlett said, and meant it. 2 years later, Scarlett received an invitation to speak at a design conference in Chicago. She almost declined. Too many ghosts, too much history. But Maya convinced her. "You can't avoid an entire city forever, and you're not the same person who left. Go back, show them who you became." So Scarlett went. The conference was massive. Designers from around the world, panels, workshops, networking events that stretched late into the night. Scarlett's keynote was scheduled for the final day. She talked about her journey, about starting over, about transforming trauma into creativity, about building a life on her own terms. The audience gave her a standing ovation. Afterward, during the reception, a woman approached. Elegant, late 50s, familiar in a way that made Scarlett's breath catch. Eleanor Moretti. "Scarlett," Eleanor said, "you probably don't want to see me." "No, I don't." "Then I'll be brief. I wanted to apologize for everything, for pushing you toward my son, for enabling his worst behavior, for making you feel responsible for his happiness." Eleanor's voice was steady. "You deserved better. I'm sorry I couldn't give it to you." Scarlett studied her. Eleanor looked older, healthier though. The stress lines had softened. The manic energy was gone. "How are you?" Scarlett asked. "Better. I had a third heart attack 6 months after Damien went to prison. Nearly died. Spent 2 months recovering. When I woke up, I realized I'd spent my entire life controlling things I couldn't control and ignoring things I could." Eleanor smiled slightly. "So I sold everything, paid off the family debts, settled civil suits, dismantled what remained of the empire. Now I run a small gallery in Evanston. No drama, no danger, just art." That's good. It's peaceful. Turns out I like peace." Eleanor paused. "Damien asks about you in his letters. I tell him you're doing well. I hope that's still true." Scarlett's chest tightened. "It is. I'm glad. You deserved happiness. You always did." Eleanor touched Scarlett's arm briefly. "Thank you for saving him that day in Las Vegas. You could have let Vanessa kill him, but you didn't." "I couldn't live with that. That's what makes you better than all of us." Eleanor left before Scarlett could respond. That night, alone in her hotel room, Scarlett sat by the window overlooking Chicago, the city she'd fled, the city that held 3 years of mistakes and heartbreak and lessons learned the hard way. It looked different now, smaller, just a city, not a prison. She pulled out her laptop, checked her email, one new message from Damien's prison account. Subject line, "No response necessary." Scarlett almost deleted it, but curiosity won. She opened it. "Scarlett, I know you blocked my number. I know you don't want to hear from me. I'm writing anyway because my therapist says I need to say this even if you never read it. I destroyed you. I know that. I treated you like furniture while worshiping a fantasy. I made you apologize for standing up for yourself. I let you walk away believing you weren't enough when the truth was I wasn't enough for you. You were real, solid, honest. Everything I claimed to value but was too scared to actually embrace. Vanessa was safe because she was unattainable. You were terrifying because you were right there offering me something genuine. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I'm just saying I finally understand what I lost. And I'm sorry. For every moment I made you feel invisible. For every choice that hurt you. For wasting 3 years of your life. You built something extraordinary from the wreckage I left you in. I saw the Vogue piece. Your mother would have been proud. I hope you're happy. I hope Alexander treats you the way I should have. I hope you never think about me except as a cautionary tale about what happens when someone's too broken to accept real love. I'll be eligible for parole in 2 years. When I get out, I'm leaving Chicago. Starting over somewhere, no one knows the Moretti name. Building something small and honest. Maybe I'll fail. Probably I'll fail. But I have to try. Thank you for everything, especially for walking away. D. Scarlett read the message 3 times. Then she closed the laptop, stood, looked at Chicago one last time. She felt nothing. No anger, no love, no regret. Just the quiet satisfaction of knowing she'd survived. The next morning, she flew back to New York. Back to her studio. Back to Alexander. Back to the life she'd built from scratch. Celestia Noir kept growing. A second location in Los Angeles. A collaboration with a major fashion house. Awards and recognition and opportunities that seemed impossible just 3 years earlier. Scarlett hired more designers, mentored young artists, started a scholarship fund for students who couldn't afford design school. She gave back what had been taken from her, built what had been destroyed, became the person she'd always had the potential to be. Alexander proposed on a rooftop in Manhattan at sunset. Simple ring, simpler question. Will you marry me? For real this time. No contracts, no expiration dates. Just us. Scarlett looked at him. At this good man who'd invested in her when she was broken, who'd stood by her through chaos, who'd never asked her to be anything except herself. Yes, she said. They married 6 months later. Small ceremony, close friends. Maya is maid of honor. Carmen and the Celestia Noir team. Alexander's family, Scarlett's scattered relatives who'd disappeared during her Moretti years and slowly drifted back. No mafia bosses, no contracts, no fear, just love. Simple, honest, real. At the reception, Maya pulled Scarlett aside. How does it feel? Different. Good different? The best different. Scarlett looked at Alexander across the room. I spent 3 years married to someone who didn't love me. Now I get to spend the rest of my life with someone who does. Damn right you do. They danced, ate cake, celebrated until the city lights blurred and the night turned soft and everyone Scarlett loved was gathered in one room. Later, standing on a balcony with Alexander beside her and Manhattan spreading below like promises kept, Scarlett thought about where she'd been, who she'd been. The girl who'd loved Damian Moretti, who'd signed that contract believing marriage could make him see her, who'd endured 3 years of invisibility hoping things would change. That girl was gone. In her place stood a woman who'd walked through fire and come out forged, who'd built empires from ashes, who'd learned that the only person who could save her was herself. What are you thinking? Alexander asked. Scarlett leaned against him. That I'm grateful. For what? For surviving, for leaving, for learning that love isn't supposed to hurt, that marriage isn't supposed to feel like a prison sentence, that the right person makes you feel free instead of trapped. Alexander kissed her. I love you. I love you too. And she meant it, completely, without reservation, without the desperate need that had defined her feelings for Damian. This was different, quieter, deeper, built on foundation instead of fantasy. This was real. They went inside, rejoined the celebration, danced until their feet hurt and laughed until their faces ached and held each other like people who'd finally found home. Somewhere in a federal prison, Damian Moretti was serving his sentence, paying for crimes, learning to live with consequences. Somewhere in protective custody, Vanessa Sinclair was doing the same. But Scarlett wasn't thinking about either of them. She was thinking about tomorrow, about designs waiting to be created, about the studio expansion, about the life she and Alexander were building together, about freedom, about peace, about the difference between existing and actually living. At midnight, when the party finally wound down and the last guests left and the caterers cleaned up, Scarlett and Alexander stood alone in the empty venue. Ready to go home? He asked. Scarlett looked around, at the space where she'd married someone who actually loved her. at the beginning of a life she'd chosen instead of one she'd been trapped in. "Yeah," she said, "I'm ready." They walked out into the New York night, hand in hand, partners, equals. Two people who'd found each other in the wreckage and built something beautiful from what remained. No mafia contracts, no expiration dates, no cages, only love, only choice, only the endless possibility of what came next. And for the first time in her life, Scarlett Whitmore truly belonged to herself.